Picture a peaceful existence shattered by an ice age. 90% become frozen while the others suffer, tormented by cold, thirst, and hunger. Jin alone foresaw calamity, crafting an unbreachable shelter stocked with essentials for survival. Now he plans to enjoy life and seek retribution against his traitorous neighbors with his doctor ally and special treatments. It all begins with nothing more than an afternoon meal. Yet the one devoured is RMC, who unwisely allowed the alluring guest inside his apartment. As he perishes with revenge in his heart, he finds himself returned to days before the total global freeze. Things improve further when he gains a systems cheat and chooses to gather supplies ahead of disaster. On his supply run, the person who once betrayed him reappears, slyly inquiring about his destination. Having grown wiser, he's determined not to be fooled again. She'll pay twice over for her past actions. At the market, our relentless hero captivates two women, having them steer his cart with resolve. One cunningly attempts to make him pay for dinner, but he refuses, treating them merely as helpers. Instantly, a pushy woman covets his groceries, while her mischievous son lunges for his chocolate treat. Unfazed, he warns the boy firmly, age is irrelevant, be silent or face consequences. As he departs, the indignant mother claims he will be held accountable for today's slight. Soon after, he returns home, expertly tucking his precious supplies into his subspace storage. Now equipped with provisions and medicine, he sets his sights on acquiring powerful weapons. However, residing in Asia, his task is harder, so he feasts lavishly while jotting villains' names in his notebook. After retrieving his meal, a subtle realization strikes: perhaps his money won't cover every necessity. That's when a carrot-faced blonde offers him a loan, promising help from his company. Providence seems to lend a hand just when hope feels distant. Soon, the protagonist and his new companion meet the boss. She warns loans carry high rates. Unfazed, the MC offers a house as security, extracting 4 million from the duo with ease. As they watch him leave, they fantasize about his assets while he relaxes comfortably, pockets filled with cash. Next, his ambition becomes making the house a stronghold impossible to breach. He negotiates with War Dragon, requesting a home sturdy enough to resist even a monster like Godzilla. The clerk sees the plan and realizes, thanks to his mercenary past, it's a level 20 dungeon. Once he hears the mercenary story, the badass quickly asks if weapons can be sourced. As he heads out, the manager tells him he'll share news if a supplier shows up. The MC heads home with his hunting license already secure in his hands. He spots trucks at the gate, tells the doorman to let them in, saying the delivery is his food. Soon, jealous neighbors watch greedily, and one even schemes to marry into his wealth. At the warehouse, all the food goes into his subspace as he decides food is no longer a worry. Later at home, he notices that the construction work has already begun. His nosy neighbors stare after him, convinced he has now completely lost his mind. But in a month, everyone will find out who among them is truly delusional. He runs into that same manager and claims to need enough medicine to empty a pharmacy. That manager has become the MC's main helper, and on the way, he sees a redhead approach Yuching. Poor soul, clueless, yells at the MC, but the badass warns him to back off with a grave threat. After Jean leaves, that busybody notices odd behavior and sends him texts from her hotel stay. But with no reply, she vents to her friend, questioning if he has lost his mind lately. Regardless, within a week, he has fire spitters, emergency medicine, and everything handled. Returning home, he finds everything perfect, ready to save her life even in the apocalypse. Just outside, his supply of mineral water finally shows up, just as anticipated. His uncle then wonders aloud why he'd order such a large quantity of water. Trusting his uncle, the MC quietly warns him to stock up since brutal cold is coming soon. John spends the days before disaster hits basking in luxury and freely using his riches. Just before chaos, he drugs his colleagues in the warehouse and seizes precious stock. He drinks the sleepless tea himself, hiding his scheme by pretending to doze off. It would be difficult to find a better performer than the MC at times like this. He's truly bold, but the boss phones and straightaway accuses him of theft. While this guy is just like Charles Xavier. Jean argues it's impossible to steal so much so fast. The boss, convinced, plans to call the police. Jean stops by the station with a sham report and then quietly heads home. As Jean arrives, snow begins to drift down and the air grows colder. A distant supernova triggers a rapid and dramatic cooldown across the planet. With the storm on the horizon and snow piling up, Jean felt certain life would take a new turn. Residents in the group chat panicked, overwhelmed by the blizzard they'd never seen before. Johnny realized for many, it was both their first and final encounter with snowfall. From his previous life, Johnny knew the storm would last 3 months, starving many to death. On the second frigid day, the entrance was buried beneath a meter of icy snow. Fully heating their apartments didn't stop everyone inside from trembling. Jeannie, well equipped to stay warm, slept soundly until an early call stirred him from sleep. Yuching teased Zhang Yi for quietly preparing as she liked him but still ended up shivering alone. Now curled up with her noodles, she endures the icy chill alone. Laughing, Zhang Yi casually ended their conversation. Annoyed, she sent a brazen text demanding he share some food. Jangi thought it amusing and chose to tease her. He sent her a photo of Wagyu beef and fine wine that she instantly recognized. Craving his food, she wanted to join, but Johnny coolly told her to just buy her own. Irritated but wise, she realized she needed Johnny's favor if she hoped for an invitation. Johnny disregarded her requests and savored his plate alone. On his iPad, Johnny watched as Aunt Lin appeared on camera, urging everyone not to quarrel over food. Officials said the weather should clear up soon and they pledged help for the entire neighborhood. Aunt Lin warned about hoarding, but others doubted her, worrying the storm could linger. Some argued if they didn't prepare now, Lin would be blamed if shortages arose. Aunt Lin promised the matter was in the committee's hands, then warned Jang Yi not to cause trouble. He shrugged off those warnings and slipped away to the security of his fortified home. 7 more days passed, snow blanketing the ground ever higher hour by hour. Aunt Lin called on the group, asking Jing Yi to help clear away snow since he was young. Defiant, Jangi likened shoveling snow to emptying a river by hand, urging Aunt Lin to seek help from wealthy neighbors instead. He clearly lost her patience and seemed ready for an argument. She coldly said this was a committee order and anyone who refused would bear the blame. Jangi questioned why rich neighbors weren't asked to help, citing Shenjing and Xingtong as options. Aunt Lin lost her place in the group, cursed aloud, and tagged the others to cooperate on snow removal. Qin Jing grew furious with Aunt Lin and Genie for acting as if he was responsible for everything. Xingtong responded with an audio message claiming he was busy, attaching a picture as his proof. Though filled with anger, Aunt Lin didn't confront him, putting all blame on Jangi for this mess. Jingi, indifferent, continued to ignore the group, prompting Aunt Lin to call him directly and vent. He harshly threatened her to stop bothering him or face deadly consequences, so she silenced herself. Johnny's dinner was interrupted by a stormy banging, while Qin Jing yelled accusations from outside. Johnny seized his bow and headed for the door where Qin Jing pounded relentlessly. He aimed deftly through the small opening, asking who intended to strike first. Jangi shot an arrow at Qin Jinshin and watched him suffer through the peephole. No one could have predicted a seemingly quiet youth would react so unexpectedly. Qin Jing didn't realize this marked the beginning of Jing Yi's payback. In the biting cold, Chenzing's life was at risk without quick medical attention. In agony, his only hope was to hobble his way to the waiting elevator. Shocked, he was astounded that an almost unknown youth had wounded him so gravely. Johnny had aimed to end his life. The truth hit Qin Jing hard when help was blocked by snow. Treating himself with ice to numb the pain, Qin Jing removed the arrow, then threatened Genie in chat. Zhani brazenly retorted, challenging him to try once more. The chat trembled with surprise, as no one had ever defied Qin Jing before. Seething, Qin Jing summoned his workers, who soon arrived at his home bearing weapons. Aldi took the lead, guiding the crew toward Janyi's place. Johnny, offending our leader was a mistake. Fortune is not with you today. He aimed to break down the door, yet his blade shattered and he was flung backwards. Aldi panicked, learning the entrance was forged from unbreakable steel. Truly, just how many rivals can this youth possibly attract? His apartment, a fortress, inspired Johnny to pity the hungry, feeble intruders on camera. As tempers flared outside, Johnny devised a cunning plan. He fetched a hose and twisted open the kitchen faucet. When the door ajarred, the mob had no fear, no sign of danger, just an open way. Then splash, icy torrents drenched those who stood at the entrance. Most tumbled on the slick ice, though a small number managed to escape. Johnny felt satisfaction admiring his accomplishment. Mid this chill, water seemed fiercer than swords. 3 icy survivors huddled by Qin Jing. Qin Jing seethed, how could so many fail? The 3 insisted Xiangyi was too clever for them. He rigged a steel door and sprayed us straight through an opening they described. Qin Jing stated that Jiangyi's luck would run out, assigning guards around the clock at his door. If Jiangyi exited, they'd seize him, while Uncle Yu gathered people to clear a snow path for food runs. But great drifts outpaced the shovels, so they retreated. As Gianni said, nature always wins such battles. Though the TV insisted the government was overcoming the havoc of the storm. All the while, Johnny understood the dreadful reality underneath. 95% had perished from cold, when suddenly his childhood love checked on him. If she'd been unaware of the truth, perhaps she'd be here, sharing his shelter. Johnny said he was well, she lacked food and asked for his help, promising dinner as thanks. Secretly, Johnny sent her a lobster picture, claiming it was tonight's dish, which irritated her, making her say that's why he's alone. He knew his chances were gone. Her closest friend accused him of upsetting Fong Yuchen. Johnny dismissed the drama, but the friend told him it was just neighborly to assist others. He might still gain Fuchen's favor, yet his "oh" reply irritated her further. How was he suddenly self-assured? Yuchen eventually quit trying to decipher his shift. They decided if he was unavailable, they'd simply find someone else, maybe less wealthy. Yuchen called Zappa next, and he quickly arrived with a full bag, saying it was all he owned. Before she could draw in another guy, her friend shut the door on Joe, ending his visit. Not bothered, her friend only sought payback on Jiangi for being ignored earlier. With their supplies replenished, days passed as the snow continued to accumulate outside. Biting into chicken and awaiting something exciting, the buildings were plunged into darkness. Neighbors started gathering, wondering if anyone's electricity was still working. Without water or heating, the temperature dropped drastically, putting everyone in danger. Finishing his chicken, Johnny cleaned his teeth and activated his generator, perhaps from a warehouse. Aunt Lin, as a community leader, was shaking as she clung to her young grandson. She had never thought this snowstorm would carry on for such an unending time. A notification appeared in her group chat. This was a rara centennial global snowstorm. A mass extinction seemed possible as several cities suffered, so everyone should hoard supplies. Reading this, Aunt Lin never imagined things were this critical, and a plan suddenly sparked. She had to get all neighbors to surrender food before anyone realized, so she posted that all was well. This situation is short-lived, she wrote. Utility teams are working, and management will take control for now per authorities' orders. The message threatened arrest for those who refused, and even prominent figures knew police orders must be obeyed, acrimony rising. At the same time, Tin continued, stating the committee would collect all food and share it so survival was fair for every resident during the emergency. On reading this, Johnny recalled she'd pulled a similar scheme once, seizing food from all her neighbors in another lifetime. Tin's error was messaging Jiang Yi, "Nephew, I saw you buy so much from the warehouse, it's your turn to share." "You're a shameless liar," he replied, saying he was out of food and the old lady nearly fainted, yet she knew trouble was coming if she lost Johnny's help. The lady composed herself and answered with gentle words. She asserted, "The organization ordered it, so follow through and I'll remember your virtue later." If Johnny hadn't died in a previous life, he might have trusted her, but he replied while picking his teeth, claiming to be starving. He asked kindly for some instant noodles, as Tian Lin warned refusing to share was against orders. She threatened to report him all while Jiangyi brushed her off, prompting Tian Lin to slam her phone down in rage. Enraged by Jiangyi's refusal, she turned her attention to the rest of the building's owners. If she managed to deceive some, that would satisfy her needs. 2 days after her deceit, several owners delivered goods to her house. Jeannie thought everyone foolish in a broken world. Now chaos ruled everywhere as the hungry waited in vain or roamed in search of their next meal. Owners started tagging Tian Lin, demanding fair distribution since many were running out of food. "Feed us, Tian Lin, or we'll turn on you," she chided. "You fools, I earned this through my toil." Questioning why she should give it away, a call came from Qin Jing, making her break out in a cold sweat. She asked, "What do you want from an old lady?" To which Qin Jing coolly replied, accusing her of trickery and hoarding. Pretending innocence, she claimed she was merely following orders, and Qin Jing announced 10 would await her to share out the food. Tian Lin argued the supplies weren't yet sorted and insisted some owners hadn't contributed everything. Qin Jing and his hungry allies soon stormed her home, slapping her across the face amid chaos's lawlessness. Today he vowed to bring fairness himself. Elsewhere, Jian Yi comfortably enjoyed a sausage while monitoring the scene through security cameras. He filmed the commotion at Tian Lin's home, ready to post details as she tried to keep Chen Jing from claiming everything for himself. He pleaded that some food there was personally hers. Without those supplies, survival for her and her grandson seemed bleak. Chen Jing said to let the matter drop and kicked her. In panic, the grandson used a bread knife to injure an attacker. One worker, howling in pain, retaliated by kicking the boy's chest, while the others found it amusing. Chen Jing paid no mind and claimed the punishment was fair since she'd been deceitful. They saw it as justice. The entire community group cheered as if our spectacle. They called her a fraud and expressed gratitude to Chen Jing for exposing her. On seeing these posts, Jiangyi thought they missed the true heart of the matter. If Chen Jing could break into old lady Lin's home today, tomorrow it could happen to them. But Jiangyi felt secure, convinced his solid steel door would stop any intruder. Afterwards, Tian Lin pleaded for rare medical supplies in the group as her grandson was shot and Dr. Xia needed them for surgery. On hearing Dr. Xia's name, Jiangyi remembered the kind man, which widened his gaze. Tian Lin pleaded desperately, hoping for gratitude, but found only silence from everyone. None would assist her. Johnny viewed her situation as fate coming around. The relentless snowstorm blanketed all, and even if saved, would the boy survive without food? The news declared this as a century's greatest global storm, burying towns and freezing the desperate. Again, Tian Lin pleaded, her grandson now unfed for days, a child, and asked if they'd let him perish. Willing to pay, she promised rewards. Residents charged $2,000 for noodles, then shared help. Jiangyi, entertained, mused the crowd still missed the disaster unfolding before their eyes. He thought soon they'd be left with only money to consume. Knowing its real value, wealthy Xingzong swiftly bought food, trading big sums for necessities. He understood perfectly that cash could never fill a hungry stomach. Single mother sought assistance through the group as well. Her little girl starved, and her mother's hope clung to the chance of kindness. Johnny recalled this mother and child pulled through before, so he believed they'd be alright again. 10 icy days in, Johnny lounged in comfort at home until a call brought a knowing grin. He answered teasing, "Are you eating well? You're looking thinner these days." The sight of chicken made them salivate. They wondered how Johnny had plenty or even sweated in the cold. With mock cheer, he claimed a warm fireplace at home allowed for jokes about runs outdoors. Yuching, caught by admiration for Jangi, praised him and hoped to share a bath with him. He refused her offer with a joke, causing her anger to spark at his response. If he won't help, there's no need for insults, so that's his answer. Jang said if she wanted food, she should ask her rich boyfriend, then he hung up the phone. Fuming, Yuching hurled her phone. Her so-called loser had risen above the title. Her friend treasured Jangi's confidence, saying he outclassed the wealthy men of their past. Fight broke out between them, sparked by a refusal to be labeled unintelligent. The government revealed the blizzard crisis, saying only evening electricity for essentials would be allowed. With plants closed, resources vanished, only phones and 1 or 2 lamps should be used. The endless winter was now known, and after their fight, Yuching and her friend agreed to be franker. Yuching rang the supposed loser Joping and recounted a tale where Jang Yi tried to defame him over food. Incensed by the story, Joping scorned Jang and with Yuching's nudge agreed to plot a theft. That night, all 3, knives concealed, showed up at his door and observed through his cameras. Johnny spotted the ultimate loser, knowing they couldn't see the cameras watching them. They asked to swap food for medicine, but Johnny, irritated by their attempt at deception, planned retaliation. He thought to douse them with water via a hose, but instead eyed the rubbish bin. Using his plan, he sprayed sewage with a hose, tainting them and saying, "This is the food for you." Furious, Jing struck the door, injuring his hand but failing to dent the fortified steel. Through the speaker, Jingi, amused, said they couldn't break the steel door, then left, but later was awoken by gunfire. Accustomed to the new world's rules, he was still jolted by the sudden eruption of shots. Via his tablet's security feed, he spotted Qin Jing and his team looting homes throughout the block. Many residents now suffered, as he once did amid the chaos of his past. He posted proof of his deeds to resident groups and declared his control over every building. On camera, new groups were forming, denouncing Zhenzeng and agreeing that action must be taken. Zhang Yi was invited in and read over the flurry of urgent messages. With a spark of mischief, a retired soldier suggested leading an assault on Xinjiang, winning favor. The old veteran advised they needed the young to help guard and to provide weapons. A woman quickly asked in audio if Auntie Lin, once a thief, could really be trusted with arms. This divided locals. Some pushed to target Qin Jing, others distrusted the veteran's plan. Zhang Yi, snacking as Qin Jing looted more houses, decided he'd stop this threat since opposition meant getting shot. It just wasn't just. By dawn, a resident resisting the veteran hastily called for help as her door was battered. Very soon she was pulled outside and fate simply dealt its bit. Worried, Yuching and her group realized a plan was needed or they'd be next. Their scheme was to claim Zhang Yi hoarded supplies so neighbors would unite to seize his apartment. They added Zhang Yi to their chat. He didn't mind and replied nonchalantly. They urged him to cooperate and join them against Xinjiang. Zhang Yi simply left, baffling Yuching and her group by his unexpected composure. How did this underdog from months before get bold? Now they plotted to breach his safe haven. The man with smart glasses suggested door access, sharing his friend could handle the lock. To avoid another mess, they tried breaking in and used umbrellas as shields. Watching on screens, Jeannie promptly activated her electric defenses. The guy picking the lock gave up. The door couldn't be cracked. One boy nearly passed out from the shock. Jeannie felt no pity for disabling them. Smart glasses guy called Zhang Yi a menace. Then Zhang Yi laughed, shot his crossbow through the door, hurting his friend. The other 2 rushed to assist and suffered as well. Fleeing back, Yuching's group left the wounded writhe in pain outside Zhang Yi's door. One girl slapped Yuching, claiming this disaster was her fault. Yuching hadn't warned about the crossbows at all. Yuching insisted she didn't know, only water and trash before. Zhou Ping kindly took her side. The smart guy reminded everyone treating wounds was the main thing now. They summoned Dr. Zhaikir, who examined the wounds. She was alarmed, warning survival was doubtful without proper equipment. With those corroded arrows, hope was lost without medicine, and a girl wept, calling Jingi heartless. Dr. Kerr demanded immediate antibiotics or the arrows couldn't be removed safely without deadly risk. The bespectacled man, growing desperate, insisted Jingi fetch medicine, but Yuching remembered Zhani hoarding supplies. She said Zhani had all the required medicine since she'd seen his hoarding and only theft was attempted. Yet because injuries happened, blame shifted to Zhani. Dr. Kerr, skeptical, felt justice was served, though more reproach rose, urging Yuching to plead for medicine. Even the perennial underdog agreed out of fear for his safety. They decided to call Zhang Yi, who picked up right away. Yuching wept over the call, saying the boys were near death and asked urgently for help. Zhang Yi replied indifferently, claiming there was no reason to intervene since death awaits everyone. The other sister snapped up the phone, arguing he owed it after hurting the boys with rusty arrows. Zhang Yi answered, saying his intent was fatal anyway and turning down help, except for inviting Yuching to join him. The girl accepted, asserting that Yuching belonged with him now. Zhang Yi then instructed them to bring her over. Her companion tried to halt her, but she stubbornly resisted. Boy's cousin smacked her, accusing her of scheming. Yuching turned to Zhang, the constant outsider, asking him to let her find happiness with Zhani. She admitted Zhou Pong was kind but feeble and poor, while Zhang Yi's sibling could make her happy. Meanwhile, Zhou cried out in pain as Yuchen's escape was foiled, everyone claiming she was to blame and thus could not manage alone. Dr. Jaeok warns them again, with no medication death is inevitable, and after she departs, the clever boy urges sharing news about Jiang Yi's stores. The group scheme now has Qin Jing plotting a raid on Jiang Yi's stash, while Yuching hesitates to target his brother. The girl inflames the threat, warning Yuching her silence protects her, as Zhoping, uneasy about violence, insists this plot is all they have. They post the images and videos Jiang Yi sent, proving he hoards enormous supplies. Qin Jing, seeing the post, grows hungry and deems it perfect revenge for his own wound. On chat, people urge Jiang Yi to share his stockpile, some begging just for a simple meal, while Aunt Lin and another mother make more unique requests, including asking him to be their child's godparent. Zhani sends a voice message, claiming he's devouring those who listen to him. He curtly refuses to help, as Zhami stares at falling snow, finding home life dull and lifeless. He ponders taking a snowmobile out from the shop to enjoy a ride across the white landscape. Then suddenly, a new message from Dr. Zher arrives without warning. Running low on medicine and food, she asks to bargain, recalling her fate after kindness killed her. Jin Yi remembers her warmth, yet knows intelligence may be wielded dangerously. Avoiding further misfortune, he refuses to jeopardize his chance to live anew. He agrees to supply items if she trades, Zhou offering a meal for a professional consultation. He has never crossed paths with this man before today, yet see the situation she finds herself wrapped in now. Zhani proposes that food and medicine are hers if she spies and brings him the group's secrets. He gives her two paths: conform with the masses and fall, or align herself with him. After a moment's pause, she gives her consent to the risky deal offered. And just like that, the groundwork is established. Friends. Jin Yi has food but needs more. The bespectacled clever fellow sends a last ominous word. Jin Yi, are you out there? Turn those goods over now or face the outcome. Jiang Yi mocks them all by claiming he's just now run out of rations himself. The wounded, clever rival issues threats as Xinjin starts a private group to plan a heist. Joker, with Uncle Yu in tow, warns Jiang Yi, confirming Jaeker's loyalty with this act. For Jiang Yu, it's proof that Dr. Jaeker is steadfastly supporting his cause. He assures her there's a strategy for defense, just don't ally with the restless crowd. In the dead of night, an angry group armed with rage comes to threaten Johnny's very life. As they hammer his door, Johnny watches via remote feed, activating his electrifying trap. Anyone near the entry ends up fatally electrified in a flash of disaster. Sadly, panic erupts for the rest as Qin Jing's faction blocks all escape with cold precision. He threatens them to keep battering the door or he'll have them killed. Spurred on by the bespectacled man, the residents are urged to kill Jin Yi and avenge the fallen neighbors. They know the apartment holds a cozy fireplace and an abundant supply of food. United with resolve, the crowd grabs a log and keeps hammering at the entrance. After sipping his wine, Genie agrees to lend a hand to his determined neighbors. He raises the volume, unleashing action tunes to push them harder, both enraged and inspired. After 20 minutes, the heavy door remains hardly damaged, while people collapse weak from their effort. Unaware it's steel, the desperate residents are stumped by their lack of progress. Using a magnifying glass, one inspects and reveals the door is made of bank vault material. Such a door is so solid, even a war machine couldn't break through it. With his crossbow ready on the other side, Johnny aims. The group flees in panic over his weapon. Genie somehow managed to hit neighbors who weren't even at his doorway. Perplexing technology allowed Genie guiltlessly to defend his space from just inside the door. The man in glasses comes down the stairs and assures everyone that he's cooked up a solution. The hefty steel door frustrates them, so, instructed, they attack the plain cement wall nearby. They soon heard metallic clangs as cracks formed from their relentless pounding. Overcoming fear of arrows, the bespectacled man checks only to see the walls are lined with steel. Everyone is awestruck, wondering why someone armored their home so well, and every spot proves impenetrable. They search all neighboring floors and see there's steel throughout. The whole apartment is a fortress beyond their means to breach. Realizing this stronghold took serious preparation, they accuse Jingi of selfishness as hope fades. Two hungry residents fleetingly consider eating each other before quickly dismissing the idea. Clever neighbor suddenly remembers that his own balcony is built of glass. His thought renews everyone's spirits and strengthens their will to survive. Claiming the neighbor's planks, Jingi observes with interest while the eager group storms the balcony. But nobody can make a mark. The glass proves to be sturdy and bulletproof. To shield them from the chill outside, Jingi flung a Molotov into a crack, and fire rained from above. Terror struck instantly, soon replaced by searing pain as fire engulfed them. Tormented and desperate, one leapt from the balcony to escape the flames. The blaze swept the place, so everyone was spared the freezing air while Jin Yi observed. The survivors desperately tried to flee to the next apartment for safety, but those inside refused entry, afraid the fire would catch them too. Some tumbled off unstable boards, while the rest huddled closer to the warmth. In the end, guilty neighbors returned begging for food, and as before, he let them eat. He didn't have a shred of pity left left for them in his heart. He showed them steaming pasta, fueling their hunger and longing. He even displayed the dish invitingly on a table right in front of them. Jean declared, "If you deliver Qin Jing's head, you'll get a week's worth of food." At those words, everyone turned hungry eyes toward Qin Jing across the way. Everyone nearby knew Jean's price: bring Qin Jing down for a week's meal, but guards and his gun checked any bold moves. So Jean posted the offer to the owner's chat: kill Shinj and earn 7 days of rations. Next day, hungry folks planned to pounce for food. Xinjing and his followers were ambushed, both fell together. The boss ordered their bodies kept as reserves, but one henchman saw the boss wounded in the scuffle. So Shinj called Joker over, asking for help with his injury. She patched him up right away but reminded him her assistance wasn't without a price. Qin Jing offered her a seat at dinner. Glancing at the soup, she refused by choosing hunger. She insisted that she'd rather be the last one eaten in this wretched building. Unimpressed, she brushed past his words, intent on leaving. But Qin Jing refused her exit until he was fully mended. She withdrew, listening as they kept scheming against Jean. Harsh events reveal human nature, and if Qin Jing weren't injured and in need, he'd likely become even more ruthless, wouldn't he? Pretending a trip to the restroom, she slipped away to warn Jangi about their plot. Later on, Qin Jang's crew slipped next door to take some food and leave unnoticed. The neighbors welcomed them, not realizing that the food wasn't meant to be shared. They knocked out the couple, then made sure by striking them once more. Shinji explains to our doctor that potential threats can't stay nearby as they might attack. Jokir is now starting to truly understand how dire the situation has become. At Yuching's hideout, they have to pull arrows out with no medicine, so everyone has infections. Maybe the chill slightly dulls their pain as they endure this suffering. Joping begs his cousin to try convincing Jeannie again, but she insists there's no use continuing. There's no hope. Days drift by as Jingi just eats and sees Qin Jing fear ambush. With every meal, Jangi reaches out to Joker to check up on her current situation. She says Chen Zhang's gang is desperate, out of food and raiding daily, even killing for survival. Other than saving the dead for later, she's starving and quietly asks if he can rescue her. He realizes her worth as a physician and sees her as someone incredibly valuable. In this shattered world where doctors are treasured, Jangi tells her to join after one task. Japong knocks frantically at his door, full of desperation. He says Yuching, his beloved, is starving, so he went to Jan Yi's to beg food for the girl who hurt him. Zhani adds with concern that he is suffering from a very advanced case of tetanus. There's nothing medicine can do for him at this stage. Walking home, he recalls he never held Slutty's hand, so instead of waiting out death, he runs to Yuching, kneels, and proposes. Pulled, she shoves him aside and throws him out. The outcast clutches her, saying they'll be united in the afterlife. He strikes him and claims she's devoted to Jangi. Chimping then says that he'll follow her to the underworld to have her. Now returning to Dr. Joe promised the group she'd prepare a proper meal, certain they won't know it isn't regular meat. They felt content, believing she finally set aside her stubborn pride. He assures them she has no wish to die either. After lending a hand briefly, she insists on handling what remains herself. To the soup, she adds something and stirs, struggling to keep from feeling sick. Later on, she dishes out the soup, and everyone agrees it looks delicious. To seem trustworthy, Joe helps herself as well and quietly returns to her room. Trusting her scheme, she emptied the vial of pills and soon all were asleep. Feeling relief, she quickly texts to say everyone is now sleeping soundly. What is the next step now? Jean Yi instructs her to move everyone to the balcony, watching from afar. Shivering, she wonders if his intent is murder. In response, he tosses over a rope and says, in a way, just tie them to the railing. She requests assistance, but he insists that it is a test she must complete alone. After binding the group, she takes Chen Yang's weapon in hand. Concerned, he urges her to eject the magazine and hand over the weapon. She tries to bargain, then recognizes cooperation as her only viable choice. Jaeok acquiesces and tosses the firearm to Jangi. Securing the gun, Jangi checks it, confirming it belongs to Chen Zhen. He then collects a hose and without warning Jaekir drenches the balcony. As water pours down, she heads back inside from the balcony. Before long, Qin Jing and his companions wake up, yelling in distress. Finding his limbs tight, Qin Jing realizes he was drugged and wishes to scold Johnny. Rain after rain, Qin Jing is frozen, as if turned to ice. Barely able to stand, Dr. Jaeok calls to say the task is finished. Soon our dear doctor waits at Jan Yi's door, gazing through the surveillance cameras. Even though it's gone smoothly, he needs to check that no threats remain. She pushes open the weighty door, he levels the gun, and she stumbles inside, collapsing. He feels comforted simply by the gentle heat indoors. As Johnny appears, he warns that things are far from finished. He insists there must be total transparency, and she understands her role in this. Flushed, aware of what's expected, she undresses to her underwear, proving she's not hiding anything. Johnny approves and guides her to clean herself and change those filthy clothes. Hearing running water, he quickly seizes the entire medkit, removing it from reach. He believes precaution outweighs regret. Some time later, Jaekir appears in pajamas, her image touched by gentle tranquility. He politely asks her to take a seat and dry her hair. He confides she's welcome for her usefulness, warning rule-breaking means no forgiveness. He indicates which room belongs to her. From now on, she'll stay there, and wandering without his say is forbidden. He is completely aware of what will happen if she disobeys. Zhani says in this troubled age, joining him was her best chance to build trust. Zhani shares a hidden truth, securing Jaeok's trust in return. Despite empty cupboards, he thrives thanks to a secret ability nobody suspects. He draws bread from a hidden dimensional pantry, warning betrayal or violence means starvation. Witnessing this, she understands Jangi's lifestyle, eating greedily and weeping, nearly choking. Fed, quenched, and fresh, Joker is now tasked with tending every chore at home. Before she can reply, the rogue interrupts to question her other possible offerings. He keenly intuits his true desire. Jai's eyes widen in surprise. Now united, they face tasks in life as a couple. They'll share exercise routines, and the good doctor will never go hungry again. Next morning, seeing Jaeok deep in sleep, Zhani remarks yesterday's ordeal tired her out. The company of a woman indoors is comforting. Together they enjoy mornings more richly than before the end. Zhani gives her a special coat for outside, and Johnny reminds her about unfinished tasks. Handing her a bat, he says she must smash the frozen bodies after helping trap the men. Without delay, she sets about shattering the frozen corpses. As Jangi records her determined work, she ignores the camera and keeps smashing persistently. The footage is proof for their group that Qin Jing, their tormentor, has been defeated. No one at home questions or criticizes the presence of the doctor. Instead, they're simply grateful and full of joy. Jangi, glad with their success, answers a call from Yuqing and says he hadn't expected her survival. The girl, wild-eyed, declares she heard about Qin Jing's death and wants to be with him. She assumes Jangi is with Zhou Care, as she once thought Zhou was dead. Behind her, her friends seem ready to end her life. Suddenly, alarming sounds can be heard from afar. Jangi exploits the noise to further disturb her mentally. He sends her Joker's photo, claiming she is now his bride-to-be. Shaken, she breaks free and rushes to see Jangi with his girlfriend on the phone. Losing control, she proclaims great love for Jangi, who coldly rejects her for his current love. He ends the conversation. Her friends abandon their urge to attack Yuqing. Now all focus shifts to the new couple they resent, sharing the same plight. Relishing her distress, Zhani asks his girlfriend if he acted too cruelly. He calmly replies that his actions are justified by circumstance. She first saw him after helping the frantic duo, forming her opinion. For her, Zhani's choices are trustworthy. Meanwhile, someone in the next building leaps, but it does not affect the pair. Soon another call lights up Zhani's phone. His uncle Yu calls, voice brimmed with happiness. Zhani felt relieved to be unharmed, his survival owed to his own stash and his past warning. Now he recognized Lame as the single mother he'd met before in his journey. Her child was ill and needed medication. Zhani told only his uncle to come for it later. After sharing the news with Zha Kr and drinking juice, a knock sounded at the door. Reviewing the security feed, he spotted his uncle and Zleme waiting outside. That was the only group present, yet Zhani chose not to open up for them that night. With caution, he slid the medicine across the threshold, dropping it to the floor. His uncle expressed thanks, but the woman wanted help beyond mere medicine. Aware of his fireplace, she requested entry, hoping her baby could have shelter. Her need for warmth worried Zhani. He valued safety above all, not wanting to upset Uncle Yu. He fabricated a shortage of coal, claiming many coats kept him and his girlfriend warm. Uncle chose not to bother Zhang, but the lady pressed on, nervous others would notice the doctor. Zhang said, "She's my fiancé," sparking a blush on the woman's cheeks. Eventually, Uncle said firmly, the medicine was all they'd get and gave up trying. They still had some provisions, so once they'd gone, Zhang Yi was left weary. In his memory, the woman faded away pointlessly. Drained, he rested with his love, savoring the scene. Zhang Yi worried Selly May's presence might disrupt his designs for the future. No surprise came when Uncle, back at home, confronted her on misusing his nephew's goodwill. She pleaded her case for her child, but Uncle gently reminded her of his nephew's kindness. Had Zhang Yi not advised stockpiling, Uncle would have had a bare pantry during the catastrophe. Zell accused Zhang Yi of supposedly using medicine to manipulate favors, deeming him selfish. Uncle responded loudly, reminding her that everyone's patience is not infinite. He warned her not to insult him, making clear she'd be on her own if she kept that up. The following day, folks from a distant building tunneled through snow toward Zhang Yi's refuge. Suspicion led them to treat others as threats, so the first unlucky one was shot on sight. Aware of the strong door, they brought Dynamite as their tool for entry. One lit the fuse, hurried off, and the blast echoed with wild intensity. Wakened by the detonation, Zhang Yi rushed to evaluate what happened. Watching the camera feeds, he spotted local construction workers at the scene. They believed the explosion would destroy the door, yet it remained solid. Fueled by anger over their attempted theft, Zhang Yi launched a fierce counterattack. A grenade overcame the cold, warming them up before Zhang Yi's Glock left several unconscious. With bullets almost spent and little stock left, it was clear others targeted his supplies too. Such chaos from blasts and gunshots startled the doctor, as calm prevails everywhere else but war zones. Uncomfortable though she felt, she dismissed it and returned to her tasks. Zhang Yi understood swift and decisive action was now essential. In the building's group chat, chatter bubbled about those loud earlier events. Zhani cleverly claimed an invading building's people tried robbing his home, and he'd driven them away. Grateful, the group thanked him. He called his uncle, who revealed the group was from Building 26, led by Huang Tian, who overtook and looted residences as Qin Jing once did. Zhani warned his uncle revenge was likely and unity with neighbors was vital, but confided in Joker that betrayal by them was possible. She was sent to collect intelligence with Uncle Yu on various building groups. After 2 days, dressed as a maid, she delivered her gathered information. Pay close attention to this point. Juk exposed that Building 26 and Building 21 remained the most formidable factions. Though two groups had promised they'd stayed inactive, and Zhang Yi thought others posed no threat. Pleased with her results, he urged her to keep searching, noting she blushed in anticipation. The Building 26 gang came back, threatened multiple tenants, and wanted Johnny gone. Such disturbances interrupted the couple's training session. Residents demanded action from Johnny, who irritably replied their safety wasn't his concern, advising self-protection. Later, Johnny called his uncle to announce his moment had come, and he wrote that the gang was just 20 strong. Together, they stood a chance to resist their enemies. All agreed, and one added he hadn't had a proper meal in days. Jin Yui alone was strong, fit, and well-nourished, naturally making him their choice for leader. Johnny said he'd support them if they obeyed his rules. They agreed as long as the plan felt safe, though he relaxed at home, better fed than the rest. Jangi argued danger was inevitable, otherwise Building 26 would be their undoing, and encouraged by Uncle Yu, all agreed to listen to him. For encouragement, he spoke of snow-traversing vehicles and promised food if they fought 26. The neighbors promised to obey, wishing for both food and safety. With trust placed in him as leader, Zhang Yi became their hope and got ready for his first expedition, securing special gear for the bitter weather. Yoko wished to join, but Zhang Yi denied her request. He was confident she would stay where she was. Once he headed out, he made sure all available supplies disappeared from the apartments. He jumped from a 4th-story window. Snow piled as tall as 4 floors, neglecting the cold meant certain doom. A hidden snowmobile inside his dimensional space saved him, although a neighbor glimpsed his unusual arrival. Uncertain if the witness noticed the vehicle's magical appearance or just him riding in, he reached Tanwi City Police Station at last. Broke the glass to get inside effortlessly. His goal: obtain greater firepower and ammunition. Further in, he found officers without heating or proper clothing for the cold. That harsh first night claimed their lives. Johnny quietly paid tribute to them, honoring their past role as city protectors. While tending to the fallen, he discovered the keys to the station. With the keys, he could now open any door, including the arms storage. He entered, finding what would be a priceless cache for many stockpiles of arms and ammo. All these supplies vanished into his unique loot storage dimension. Johnny shared that his new challenge was finding food for all who relied on him. He climbed onto his snowmobile once more and rode towards where the mall must be. When he dug through the deep snow, his efforts revealed the hidden roof beneath. He smashed the glass and scoured the place, collecting all that could help him survive. In the supermarket, fruits and meats turned to ice, yet they sufficed for those with empty hands. He filled his bag with provisions and made his way back to the snowmobile. Arriving back, the Building 26 chief saw the food and hungered for it and that powerful snowmobile. Also, every resident who heard the vehicle's roar stepped out and eyed it keenly. Uncle Yu cheered for his nephew's safe return as Jin Yi highlighted the risk and struggle behind the feat. Uncle Yu exclaimed and hailed Jin Yi as a true hero among them. Brandishing stale food and his weapon, he proclaimed all must obey if they wish to eat, provoking the hungry in Building 26 to threaten him for food or death. He first ordered his own people to seize food from the others, invade, and eliminate the opposition. Any person who seized a life would be rewarded with 5 days' food ration. At the promise of provisions, the crowd lost control and viciously struck the Building 26 gang. It was hard for their foes to fathom how the frightened turned suddenly ferocious. Soon, those enemies were outmatched and defeated by the sheer force of the attackers. Jangi and his beloved watched the triumphant cheer, while some survivors dashed back to Building 26. Their wounded lay beside them. Joker could use supplies to help, but she feared Jingi's refusal, leading her to wonder: is Jingi a villain, an anti-hero, or simply doing his best to endure tragedy and live? Shrewdly, he united the group, praised them, and gave extra rewards to the top achievers to encourage dedication. This kept his crew motivated. One by one, they submitted to the armed man in control of every meal. None showed joy, yet when Jingi caught someone being lazy, with scorn he tossed them only candy. The disgruntled man griped it was unfair he only got that. Jangi challenged him, asking if he would dare complain more. The man held back, hollering and fighting, while those with little felt less alone seeing others' pain. Su Hao insisted that too many joined the fray and he was unable to join the conflict. Here, Zhang Yi said outcomes were what mattered, so Suha boldly accused Zhang Yi of injustice. With Zhang Yi's command, the troubled man was restrained by 2 neighbors. He shouted, wanting to know the fate of those who refused to obey the leader's word. After warning everyone, the man clutched the candy tightly in his hand. Johnny approached, seized both the man's hair and candy, stressing that work means sustenance. Work earns food, he said, having Shoker store the rest. Then a familiar voice called out from the crowd. Ban Yutching and her companion companion crawled over, claiming they hadn't received any rations yet. They questioned if perhaps Johnny forgot that his old friends were waiting on him. Johnny humbly replied he hadn't forgotten. Joker kept their portions aside since supplies ran out. Moved to tears, Von Yuching asked why Johnny was cold after so many years together. He hit her with a sharp retort, declaring he never cared for her and was now engaged to Joker. One woman called her an opportunist, and Johnny agreed, noting her history with wealthy men. The embarrassed man claimed she had used him for her own gain more than once. Some guys commented that had they known her past, they'd have tried to take advantage as well. Humiliated, she rushed away, leaving her friend to be dragged off by two men. Judging by how they looked and covered her mouth, I assumed they'd go feed her. Sa, revealing Fong Yuching's secrets, got better food and vowed to do more for the leader. Once the tumult faded, Zhani began arranging the security for the building. There are 47 people in the building except Zhani, Joker, Uncle Yu, and Shilim. Others form 6 teams and keep watch non-stop. If attackers are spotted, an alarm should sound, and Uncle Yu, ex-soldier, guides the groups. Back inside, Jiang Yu was studying quietly while Joker questioned snow falling at this time. As he gathered weapons from stores, he remarked they're trapped by winter for at least a month. During this apocalyptic cold, people pose the greatest risk, yet this WAP lets him defend home. Watching through his scope, he spotted figures approaching his garage. Clearly seeking the snowmobile, Jiang Yi pretended it was there but hid it securely with the loot. Uncle Yu informed Jiang Yi the defense teams were ready and asked not to mind her previous words about the medicine. She's always talking, and Jiang Yi claimed indifference, asking if the uncle wished to support someone else's child, mentioning capable men attract any woman in hard times. Yet noticing his uncle's unease, Jiang Yi remarked she might be a worthy woman and if true, he should abstain. Uncle answered that the end of the world isn't for such concerns and so returns to work, while Zhani told Joker serious matters need calm reflection. Within the tunnel, a group from Building 26 sneaked back with a plan to steal. The first intruder was nearly beaten as a guard shouted, "We're under attack." Instantly a fierce fight erupted on the staircase. The group from 26 didn't expect protection like this, and those in Zhani's building enjoyed their survival outside. Seeing the foes running, Zhani remarked he felt like shooting, and he grabbed a weapon from storage. Looking through the rifle's scope, his hands were steady, fully aware of each shot's outcome. One fleeing figure was hit right in the head, causing the others to flee with greater panic. Johnny thought, "This is wonderful," wishing to relish the moment further. Each bullet struck right on target, leaving 7 shots spent and 7 figures sprawled in the snow. He was sure this display sent a message. Johnny from Building 25 has a rifle and cannot be challenged for now. Now everyone must yield to his authority. The next day, Joker came bringing food, saying she was honing her cooking skills. She also asked about the noise out on the balcony the prior night. Zhani, hiding nothing, replied that he had shot and killed 7 people. Joker simply responded, "John is impressive," while Zhani inquired if she wanted to know why he used an AWP. Joker answered that it doesn't affect her, caring only that she's with him, not left to die outside. Johnny complimented her intelligence and lack of intrusive curiosity, something he appreciated. Meanwhile, at Building 26, residents observed the lifeless in the snow, one being the boss's relative. Worried and now lacking food, they regretted having fewer men for their next moves. Tian angrily ordered them to fetch his relative David's body and the others to trade for more food. Meanwhile, Johnny went outside again, gaining even more respect from everyone now. Naturally, they feared him. With his headphones on and Uncle Yu's updates, Johnny was certain the building was secure. All the leader of Building 26 could do was brood in silent resentment. If he obtained that motorcycle, he could venture out for supplies whenever he wished. Earlier, some who searched for the motorcycle found nothing but got shot on the lot. Johnny took the motorcycle out, heading straight to the machine and import car district. There the warehouses were huge, untouched by the heavy embrace of snowfall. He broke through the roof, rappelled inside, and placed everything into his boundless stash. Though these luxury cars are currently useless, he kept them, then moved to the gas station. He desperately needed fuel for his machines, generators, and his snowmobile as well. Yet the gas station was completely submerged under a thick layer of snow. 10 meters of snow couldn't be dug through by hand, leaving him discouraged for the first time, sprawled in the snow, wishing for gasoline for his stash of engines. But then he recalled his giant excavator hidden amongst his spoils. With some fuel left, he could power it up to dig down through the snow. It wasn't long before the path to the buried station was opened. As he entered, he discovered the underground storage tanks. Fortune smiled, none of the fuel reserves inside had frozen solid. His only task left was to seal the tanks tightly and hide them in his storage zone. He sensed just then that with this fuel and his digger, he could claim anything underground without challenge. Back in the building, a neighbor's child got a fever, Jaeok volunteered but the medicine was guarded by Jang Yi. Uncle Yu arrived, sharing leftover medicine meant for Zyme's son, brought by his girlfriend. He gently reassured the worried mother, things are going to get better. Soon the fever eased up, yet Jaeok gently reminded the mother to watch over him as well. It hardly left his side before, suddenly, a loud cry echoed through the hall. Aunt Lin attacked, and as the mother protected her son, she was wounded in the chaos. For a fleeting moment, Jaeok succeeded in swiftly lifting the baby to safety. Aunt Lin, unhinged, shouted that her grandson might have lived if anyone had helped. So now, no one here is allowed to start a family or have children anymore. Fearless Jaeok dashed down the staircase clutching the child while Aunt Lin grabbed the doctor. Like a mother, Aunt Lin laid herself across the child, protecting him from danger. Aunt Lin wouldn't hesitate to destroy anything that blocked her determined way. Uncle Yu forcefully kicked Aunt Lin, sending her tumbling down the stairs below. He arrived just in time and saved the chief's wife from the approaching harm. He knew he'd blame himself if disaster struck while he was gone. Aunt Lin blamed them all. Uncle Yu explained Jang Yi got rid of Qin Jing, so that's why everyone survived now. Jaeok later revealed she begged Jang Yi to give medicine to her grandson once Qin Jing was gone. But she discovered Aunt Lin had killed and eaten her own grandson, leaving the woman crying. Uncle Yu's crew insisted Aunt Lin pay for her wrongdoings and volunteered to assist. They laughed, saying fat burns well and it's been too long since their last big bonfire. Elsewhere outside, Johnny sleeps by the gas station, always prepared for another adventure. Taking his excavator to the city post, he tunnels into the base but finds it stripped bare. He suspects that armed officers may want to rule the remaining people of society. If so, he must protect himself. While tunneling, he unknowingly destroys a portion of the base. Suddenly, unexpected fortune. The military left behind piles of weapons and ammunition, all now under Johnny's control. After his long journey, Johnny snowmobiles home, but he returns without any food to share. His hungry neighbors spot this and begin to grumble in disappointment. Annoyed, Johnny tells them he'd searched but found nothing meaningful all day long. He says they're free to search alone now if they don't want to rely on his efforts. He calls them thankless, and Zhani sees a day lacking food makes his defense work useless. Johnny ends the chat, but some consider helping him next time so he can finally rest, as Jang Yi and we ignore a strange man with one hand concealed. Jang Yi issues a signal, swiftly knocking the rebel unconscious as he collapses to the ground. Though the others apologize, Jang Yi lets it be known forgiveness is not on offer. He fires at them and quickly, at least 4 fall before him. The rest flee out the window. The ruckus shattered alerts Uncle Sort of You and Mercy, others hurrying to the scene anxiously. Johnny remarks they were traitors, and he offered them a shattered sort of mercy. Uncle Yui mutters that their downfall was forgetting where they belonged. Jang Yi returns home undisturbed, while John Lei muses that this act serves as a warning. As none challenge the outcome, they leave, while Jang Yi ponders his dwindling followers. At home, Jang Yi asks Joe if anything notable happened during his absence. Joe shares Aunt Lin lashed out after mourning her grandson, but all has calmed now. Besides, Chun Lingling Yu from another building seeks an alliance with Jang Yi, offering no specifics yet. Unconcerned with this stranger's business, Zhani feels content, as outsiders can only endure hunger and cold. Wondering if to bother with her, he asks, and Jaekir says Chunling Yu once led a cosmetics firm, now managing Building 9. Jin Yi marvels at her taking over a building and with Joe's advice sees new messages on his phone from her and another leader. He reaches out to Chenling to discover her intentions. Though she wishes to talk by voice, Jangi refuses, lacking the patience. They'll communicate by text. Chenling muses about this survivor with a snowmobile and gun. She admits they know about his snowmobile, asking what he offers in return. She has 76 people. They could search for food with his vehicle, hoping he'll feed them first to help. Warning that when neighbors rise, allies are crucial, he snaps, asking about refusing her request. He wonders at beggars now turning to threats as they ask for help. Chenling calmly reminds that Jangi is now a target, warning coalitions could soon be coming for him. Jangi requests a moment to consider, then looks out thoughtfully at the neighboring blocks. He knows his security stands for now, but united, the neighboring buildings could overpower him. While he considers, Lian calls, seeking cooperation as well. Lian's Building 18 thrives in peace, sharing what they have and holding fast to their humanity. He promised aid to Building 25, asking only a handful of supplies in trade. Danny questioned Joe about the situation over at Building 18. She explained Jian gathered everyone after disaster, but their resources would soon run out. Genie replied he needed time to consider, but soon he spotted many messages arriving. Danny spoke with Jacques, suggesting he might have to make a severe choice soon. The doctor believed she had chosen well by joining Jingi's side. When he asked his girlfriend for counsel, he unexpectedly challenged her to pick cooperation or destruction. Lost in her thoughts, she couldn't provide an answer. Later he asked her to modify a bulletproof vest so it would suit his legs. His idea, he told his people the neighbors would invade if he refused to surrender the snowmobile. If it was given up, food would be everyone's own problem, so loyalty fell to Jin Yi, and Janny joined a new leadership group across buildings. They said if he didn't comply with their rules, they'd become adversaries to every building. They made their requests clear to him. Jang Yi crafted a shrewd plan: cooperate for now and arrange a parliament of leaders. His actual intent? to remove those leaders so their people couldn't unite, and uplifting his group with good meals asserted strength was essential to defend their place. Someone wondered aloud if peace could still be reached. Zhani promised that, if things went his way, hunger would soon be solved. His words lit hope, making him the hero his people would support unconditionally. Leaving through the tunnel rather than windows, Zhang Yi led everyone to the appointed meeting site. He watched from afar, feeling something wasn't right. Seeing a large crowd, he sent Uncle Yu ahead and tucked himself away with his gun. Uncle Yu then faced the leaders gathering, and someone noted negotiation seemed unlikely. Another said they appeared more intent on wiping everybody out. The four so ambitious, any resistance was sure to fail. Yet Uncle Yu insisted cooperation with Shang Yu was best, as fighting wouldn't help anyone. Buildings 26, 5, 21, 9, and 18 leaders were certain Genie couldn't face them all at once. One leader noted Zhang Yi's absence, assuming fear of their numbers had kept him away. Everything favored them, so Tianfeng called for Zhang Yi to come out and begin talks. Uncle Yu mentioned only the leaders would meet, suggesting they moved forward to join. Qinlang and his group questioned this, asking if the others were unafraid of risking their lives. Realizing trouble was coming, Shang Yi called Uncle Yu, warning them to avoid the other groups. Uncle Yu, ever perceptive, wisely signaled his group to stay back and wait. While they stood apart, Zhang Yi whistled, catching the attention of all who were there. No one could see where Zhang Yi was, or where his grenade came from in the crowd. Thunderous blast behind the leaders left a gaping hole and claimed everyone nearby. Uncle Yu, phone on speaker, asked behind the leaders if anyone had any more questions. A stunned Wang Cheng asked about the violence, while Jin Yi questioned the massive crowd. Returning to his building, he said there were only 5 minutes left before the set meeting hour. If they did not show at building 25, it was over. Qinling voiced everyone's agreement. In his apartment, Zhang Yi felt satisfied with how easily things had turned. A single blast had taken 20 lives, proving convincing. Now just 20 remained. The leaders hurried upstairs to meet, worn out from the stair climb without elevator help. He checked everyone's presence, and with confirmation, the residents began calmly listing terms for alliance. Not pleased, he laid his Glock on the table for all to see. This shocking gesture left the whole room in silent surprise. Jingi explained he'd taken it out only because it felt uncomfortable at his waist. They pressed on, warning that turning on him would make them join forces against him. Zhang Yi guided the negotiation from here. First he declined, he couldn't possibly provide food for that many people. He offered 10 meals per building, leaving the choice of use in their hands. Chunling felt disheartened. Their building alone housed 76 people, that's not enough. Genie stated it's take this offer or resign to having no options at all. Hanfang believed Chunling didn't represent everyone and said foodless people won't be convinced. With his Glock ready, Johnny questioned if they truly found it so meager. Ai Zhang, the commissar, signaled his wish to have a discussion. Jin Yi remarked it's better than a bullet, adding food wouldn't last forever. He insisted supplies would dwindle even with scavenging, revealing seeds in his palm. His intention was clear, everyone ought to start planting crops for sustenance. Tianfeng quickly wondered aloud about planting through all that ice. Brandishing his Glock, he explained there's earth beneath, water wouldn't pose a problem. He required daily labor from every building to dig and plant for 10 meals plus medicine, drinks, and cigarettes. The mention of cigarettes made the two smokers forget woes. They agreed for a smoke. Jin Yi handed over a wallet of cigarettes to sample and asked if daily boxes sealed the deal. Lai Zhang tried to interrupt, but the smokers agreed to everything without hesitation. Their only request was to secure a daily cigarette supply. Still, 3 leaders refrained from responding, remaining silent for now. Held in check by the Glock, one leader sided with the armed man, urging others to comply. Those who were already convinced sought to keep him content, abating further talk from the rest. Jin Yi glanced from the window, noticing residents of the building starting to stir. Turning his Glock on the leaders, he questioned sternly, what is the meaning of this? Waiyan assured him all leaders present had committed to the cause already. With no motive for conflict, Lai Zhang said any assault was an independent decision. Zhang Yi signaled for support, leaving all in the room at an impasse. Zhang Yi deftly revealed his rifle, his sleight of hand unnoticed by everyone. He then used his rifle's scope to identify those leading the rising rebellion. With flawless precision, he picks them off each in turn. The leaders inside are paralyzed by fear. Moments after, Johnny regains composure, assures things are in hand, and confirms negotiation acceptance. The two who smoke agree first, the unwilling rest are pressured into cooperating too. Honest Jean is the sole holdout left. With everyone signed on, work will begin in the afternoon tomorrow. As he departs, he nods and advises Jean to do well, promising to watch over everything meanwhile. When leaving, leaders look uneasy, creating a stir. Zhang Yi discusses settling things but must hand out 300 meals daily. Some dislike giving so much food, but Genie turns this situation to benefit himself. He explains that without this arrangement, many would perish fighting for scarce food, so he's ensuring everyone's safety. Building 25 residents are brought to tears, believing only Jin Yi can lead with true compassion. Everyone leaves but Uncle, who sheepishly admits the outcome wasn't what he expected. Jin Yi pulls Uncle aside to confess what truly happened. All leaders were targets, but only 5 influential ones arrived, shifting the plan. Delay is necessary as removing those 5 spurs stronger attacks, so Uncle understands the lack of destruction. It's just postponed. He praises his nephew for such calculating foresight. Now it's only a waiting game. Residents will gradually weaken through constant labor. Providing 300 meals leads to their ruin by sparing them food fights over small meals. Zhani cautions Uncle to reveal nothing. His wife relaxes at home practicing yoga. Their lives together are truly demanding. After long hours, Joker checks on negotiations. He mentions only needing to repeat the process. He playfully places her on the bed and asks her to stay indoors for a bit. Preparation is key. After an intimate evening, a cold day brings everyone outside to dig per their word. They aim to dig 10 meters down through snow to plant seeds. He makes sure all is as it should be before fetching his snowmobile for the day. The remaining leaders explain they searched but couldn't spot it anywhere. Where might he have concealed it? Genie's task today is to locate a veterinary clinic. He realizes he might obtain the medicine for animals beyond saving its effective poison. With this supply, he could incapacitate 300 people as there would be no cures available. When the time is right, he knows exactly how he might put it to use. Once home, he loads up essentials for his building, everyone amazed at the haul he's brought. He phones other buildings, inviting them to collect their portions from him. Each leader dispatches 3 from their building, likely wary of being surprised. Soon, all 30 nearby buildings pick up their day's rations, glad to have food again. As he departs, he overhears the staff say they are exhausted but satisfied with their efforts. So, with no concrete strategy, everything appears to be proceeding smoothly. At his tidy, warm home, all comforts are present. He even enjoys a daily hot shower. Elsewhere, Wang Qian watched his assistant arrive and immediately scavenged for cigarettes. The group behind him craved a smoke, claiming they couldn't survive without one. Only once their nerves settled with tobacco did they think about having a meal. He allowed them to eat, but not until he confirmed the food was uncontaminated. His group felt safe eating, while other building workers waited endlessly for their turn. After bathing that night, he heard neighbors disputing over food, while he and his wife shared a cheerful supper. The following day, people dug outside, and as he completed his routine, he cautioned that food shortages could promote conflict. Next, he set out on his snowmobile to search for additional supplies. Several hours later, his return brought fewer provisions than before. Zhang Yi warned everyone that searching for resources outside was risky, and they should be grateful for what they owned. He aimed to create further strife. That same day, buildings started turning people out to spare resources. While turmoil dominated elsewhere, he relaxed with ease in his home sanctuary. He tuned into music while getting his equipment ready before what lay ahead. The following morning, destruction was everywhere. Bodies and damaged buildings covered the scene. Some wondered if digging had to continue that day as well. Jingi strode coldly among the fallen, warning that avoidance led to a similar fate. People hurried to shovel snow while Zhang Yi observed, though Uncle Yu saw a smaller crowd working today. Naturally, sir, just see everyone who's missing now, he said. Only Jing Yi's crew remained, but he knew things would shift by the morning. This made it clear without contributing there would be no food or comfort, so by day's end nearly all returned. Uncle wondered why people came back when rations were still short. Johnny suggested they hoped for any food at all, as yesterday's bodies gradually vanished. Jinling approached Qinling as he prepared to depart. He was disheveled and anxious, wishing to discuss the turmoil consuming their world. If scarcity continued and food stayed limited, disaster would result from internal conflict. She proposed using rational methods to tackle starvation or even enlarging their grounds. By uniting efforts they might form an empire amid collapse, and Jin Yi's eyes lit with cunning. He accused her of manipulating others for influence and said this approach harmed her group. Her bargaining failed with him. Jin Yi rebuffed her, coldly saying such people wouldn't survive long. Though she pleaded for him to reconsider and allow her to serve at his side. Strangely, there were no deaths recorded in Lian's sector. All were safe and helping each other. Intrigued by this, Jin Yui visited Lian to uncover his secret to unity. Lian gave the impression that he kept something hidden. Most blocks quarreled about supplies, but Lian claimed he did nothing unusual. He insisted he was open, disclosed all updates, and divided scarce food fairly among everyone. Zhang Yi joked they were all equally hungry, shrugged it off, prepared to leave, and was quickly stopped by Lai Jian. He said Zhang Yi could be of great help to my people here. Zhang Yi proposed that with Lai Jian in charge, strength could mean extra food, yet Lai stuck to fairness, striving to care for all. Eventually, everyone would face hunger side by side, and he left Jian to ponder the morality of self-preservation. Jin Yu then met with the corrupt leaders who quietly enjoyed their own food supplies. He let them know that if they needed anything, he would be there for them. In how he acted, you could glimpse the true nature of our protagonist. He had empathy for manipulators and ridiculed those honestly trying to help others. Later, building leaders followed, requesting perks like Wang Qian and Tianfang, especially cigarettes. All those with scant food asked for tobacco, and he promised to care for them all the next day. Neighbors questioned Shang Yi's special treatment, but he hinted that some merit more, fanning resentment. He lay on his couch at home, quietly convinced patience would resolve everything. The plan unfolded perfectly, and soon everyone would end up out in the cold. Ready for phase 2, he rose at dawn to collect food and make sure none would go hungry. As hunger grew, it was time to use the poison he'd been saving. The careful scheme continued to move forward without issue. Would leaders revolt or keep quiet under his growing control thanks to his arsenal? Zhani felt the moment was right to take bold action. He came back with more supplies and asked Uncle Yu and friends for protection. Leaders now approached eagerly when it was time for their turn at lunch. He noticed trusted leaders appeared uneasy, and when it was Building 21 turn, Jangi was shocked. Shout rang out and they unveiled hidden weapons in their hands. Shots erupted and in an act of courage, someone shielded Jangi. The sole person he relied on risked all to protect him from harm. More neighbors joined, hoping to finish him off since they thought he was defenseless. Someone made a move to attack him from behind. He revealed his prowess, brandishing a CS automatic weapon and firing without restraint. Not even overwhelming numbers could resist a jittery trigger. Traitors fled, hopes defeated. As they ran, everyone was struck down, and when he ran out of bullets, 2 fresh guns flashed. Wang and Tian Fong pleaded at the end, vowing innocence, but only a higher power grants absolution. Chunling, the final person, swore she was blameless, and perhaps she truly was. He also spoke of her daughter, only 13. With no compassion, Changi ended her life and later murmured regrets, explaining tigers can't be spared. Behind him, bodies stretched endlessly on the ground. Unexpectedly, he discovered someone lingered between life and death. It was Uncle Yu. Quickly, an adrenaline shot revived him. 2 residents from the 25th building had been hiding away in secret. Shouting for support, they answered and dragged Uncle Yu quickly to Jayakkar. On the way, Xiaomi's heart raced with fear catching sight of her hurt boyfriend. Why had he ended up like this, and what if he slipped away forever? How could she keep going? Losing her comforts was her only worry, making Genie furious. Though he sharply commanded her to keep silent. Her mood shifted. Without her man, protection vanished and survival trembled. She claimed that if her love goes, their child must be his responsibility, for she'd not endure. Genie, baffled by her despair, questioned if she secretly wished his end tomorrow. Weeping, Xiaomi pleaded for her husband's life, but Johnny, exhausted, helped Uncle instead. She knew he was her safeguard. At the threshold, he asked them to leave, but she pleaded to remain near her husband. Out of regard for Uncle's affection, he relented and allowed her to stay by his side. The mood altered, heavy and quiet, as he opened the door to the home. She felt warmth inside. It was the refuge she longed for all these days. Bringing Uncle in, Jangi and Juko were surprised as Zil freely fetched a drink in their kitchen. It wasn't long before she stepped back, re-entering the room. Grinning cheerfully, she asks for powdered milk, which quickly irritates Genie. She explains the milk is for the baby, and Uncle Yu, fond of the child, becomes the new focus. The main character enters another room and retrieves a stretcher from his storage realm. Zilly May wonders if it's a trick, but he disregards her and asks Joker if more supplies or medicine are needed. Joker takes off Uncle's shirt. The bullet's angle hints at likely injury to internal organs. Saving Uncle seems hopeless, and when he hears Zilly May, he bursts out crying desperately. Angrily, he warns that any further interference from her will have grave consequences. She silently decides to exit. After all, there's abundant food and warm water elsewhere here, she thinks. Why stay here, simply staring around when there's little reason to linger in this room? Sensing her intentions, the protagonist demands she remain and help, adding she's needed because of Uncle. She'll wait until Joker finishes. He leaves the women behind and heads downstairs, rallying the tenants. They've been betrayed, and Uncle, your survival hangs by a thread. They must make a move now, but neighbors oppose this as other buildings outnumber them. Genie suggests they guard outside. Anyone who leaves gets attacked, and he'll manage those within. All who refuse to join are called traitors, destined to meet the same fate as the fallen outside. They find warm clothes and soon reach Building 21, where upper-floor dwellers see Jangi leading. Some know Zangi is armed, freezing in fear. Most have blunt weapons while he can draw an automatic rifle. Brave ones believe safety lies in the building. Johnny assigns posts to all before heading inside. In the lobby, he gathers firewood and clothes from his dimension, douses them in gasoline, creating trails. With a grin, he flicks his lighter and says he'll graciously offer them warmth in the harsh cold. He pitches the lit lighter straight into the pool of gasoline, starting the blaze. Flames roar through the lobby, smoke climbing the stairs as he exits calmly without a glance back. Upstairs, panic ensues, windows stay sealed by ice, and even desperate efforts are in vain. Without barrels, they can't open a way. The protagonist steps out, pointing to smoke. The rest is up to you now. Do not allow anyone to slip past or escape, he finishes sternly. As the blaze spreads, many cannot handle the flames and leap, landing on the cold snow. Those spared from the fire meet shattered spines upon hitting the ground. A woman shows no pity as she finishes off those who burn while crawling. With unfeeling hands, she brings an end with her blade. Even the men by her side lack such a heartless chill. Her uneasy boyfriend gently asks if she feels alright. When she faces him, she seems angelic and replies calmly that it's just her duty. If another survives the fall, she ensures they suffer no longer. In just moments, Building 21 stands no more. Afterward, Zhani leads his group toward Building 26 under Tianong's rule. Witnessing the fate of 21 drives the residents into deep fear. Upon arrival, the residents cry out that they are blameless and do not support Tianfeng. With a chuckle, Zhangyi declares that won't matter in the end. They're all about to burn, no exceptions. Before long, 6 buildings, including this one, face the flames and fight the cold with fire. Deciding it was plenty for this night, he reassured another group not to worry further. He understood who was truly innocent, promising their safety. Some felt hopeful, others accused him of weariness from burning 5 blocks, but he ignored them and called it enough. After braving the icy air, his crew chose to stay out, taking warmth from the blaze. They took wood from there for fuel. He checked on 2 devoted followers, certain betrayal made no sense due to fair treatment. Curiosity led him to take their phones, and upon reading messages, everything was clear. Once the rebellious blocks fell, Jangi returned to find Uncle Yu safe. The monitor's beep proved he was now secure. He gladly observed that Juko was the finest surgeon of them all. As they conversed, Jia Mei approached, asking gently for sustenance for herself and her child. With cool indifference, he tossed her instant noodles and told her she wouldn't starve, but she demanded better food, remarking there was chicken and eggs inside. Johnny nearly lost control. Even Juko was startled by her audacity, as Zhani, irritated at the complaints about rations during the apocalypse, stated, "It's instant noodles or nothing." He went away with his girlfriend. While back in the room, a weary Zhang Yi massaged her aching legs. It started with her legs, moved tenderly to her lips, and finished with her legs once more. Joka remarked that Uncle Yu's recovery was remarkable. During surgery, he healed rapidly. Upon hearing this, Johnny had an epiphany, thinking a gamma burst from the supernova gave people gifts. It's possible Uncle Yu had unlocked an ability, just like Johnny's own pocket dimension skill. He accepted the idea but still wondered why only he and Uncle Yu had gained these gifts. Johnny speculated that one might have to be near death before their abilities awaken. His own power activated when dying from Qing's attack, and Uncle Yu recovered after being shot. After considering this, Johnny asked Joker to keep Uncle Yu sedated until it was appropriate. Jin Yui entered the living area, discovering Xiaomi hunting for something to eat. He curtly explained he'd stored the supplies, making her search useless. Johnny instructed her to watch over Uncle Yu and handle everything his needs required. She complied and went to her spouse's room as Johnny swiftly moved to deal with another betrayer upstairs. Armed with a police shield, he blasted the door lock and then forcefully kicked in the door. Ben Yuing rushed with a blade, hit the shield, lost her weapon, and stumbled to the floor. Jingi remarked that it had been quite some time since he last saw her face. On finding her friend on the table, Jingi saw how inept Van Yuing actually managed to stay alive. Driven mad with fury, she shrieked, "Why couldn't anyone kill him? Zhang Yi's at fault. If he stayed weak, I'd accept him." Zhang Yi rushed matters, shattered her leg with a bat, then dragged her by the hair, disinterested in talk. He told her bluntly it should have been done a long while ago. The jaded girl screamed, "No, not me," but regret-filled futching, "Not Johnny, her brother." He released her from the upper floor, standing back as she plunged swiftly into the thick snow. Content to see her fall, Johnny found the once innocent Yuching lying nearby and later checked on Uncle Yu at home the next morning. Astonishingly, Uncle Yu's recovery astounded all, for his gunshot had nearly vanished in a day. Jangi asked Joko to keep watch over him during his recovery to ensure his well-being. She administered Uncle Yu his usual sedative injection with practiced hands. Xylami then approached and requested Zhang Yi to fetch her charger and baby's diaper from home. As Jeannie glanced at Uncle Yu, she recalled rumors that coma victims could hear us. He graciously replied that he'd help after finishing something pressing. Leaving, Jeannie decided to address lingering threats and set more buildings aflame, saying it was to purge dangers. Bruised Shu Ha noticed Jeannie and hurried over, claiming important insider info for his big brother. Jeannie smiled, confident he nearly possessed all he sought at that moment. Zhu Ha asked if he'd heard of Wan Simon, a wealthy man who built a $200 million Doomsday shelter. Jeannie was intrigued and agreed to move their talk to a more private setting. Inside an apartment, Zhu Hao revealed Wan Simon's shelter lies within a posh gated area. Jangi inquired about Zhu Hao's motive for sharing this information. Zhu Hao claimed the shelter had endless food stores and offered to help Jangi stage a raid. Jangi dismissed the idea, believing breaking into this fortress wasn't worth the risk, but Zhu Hao asserted Wang Simon already had targeted Zhang Yi and tried taking his snowmobile. Infuriated, Jangi asked Zhu Hao to choose how he wished to meet his end. Frightened, Zhu Hao cried that he had no ill intent toward Jangi and wanted only to help. Jangi made his point by firing near Zhu Hao's head, demanding a valid reason for mercy. Zhu Hao confessed he craved safety and cooperation, eyeing the food stash in Simon's mansion. He also revealed resentment. Simon had humiliated him publicly before girls. Driven by a taste for vengeance, Jeannie offered a chance, asking about their rivals' defenses. Fearful, Shu said he'd reveal details only if they struck a deal. Johnny grinned, joking about using force instead. Ha contested that Jangi killed those who lost utility, so threats wouldn't sway him to talk. Johnny admitted Zhu Hao's cleverness, agreeing to a bargain, with 2 requirements before details. He needed Zhu Hao's assistance in removing someone who had become a constant vexation. Jangi led Shu Ha to an apartment, quietly hinting he would divulge something important. The shrewd hero revealed a case unsettling Zhu Ha, yet Zhu Hao felt risking everything was best for survival with Jingi. Genie brandished a syringe saying, "I'm a pro assassin, this is insurance, poison shows up in a week." He promised Zhu Hao the antidote after seizing Simon's shelter and told him someone would die today as he injected him. Zhua had orders to wait at the intended victim's home, while Genie confided the syringe contained harmless saline to avoid betrayal. Returning home, he found Siam speaking with Uncle Yu as the two waited for him. He assured his uncle he was joyful, doing well, and would care for everyone so they could live close as a family. Saline May beamed, saying, "A vow is a vow," entrusting her baby to him before going to gather their belongings. Sime believed Jangi wouldn't force her out now since she had the baby and uncle with her. Jangi, carrying both the baby and her phone, informed Shu she was gone and urged him to accept it. While the imp played with the infant, the mother opened her door, thinking she'd never return there. To her astonishment, she discovered someone already inside awaiting her arrival. Fear stopped her from resisting when she was assaulted. Feeling satisfied, Shua messaged that there was no more trouble, she would not return here or to Jiang Yi's. At home, Jingi promised Uncle Yu both he and Seli Mei would also live there, making life wonderful. But unlike his wife, Uncle Yu felt uneasy about intruding on Jingi as the baby wailed in confusion. Zhani passed the child to Jaeker, instructing to change the diaper as he watched on. "Figure it out," he told her, soon chatting privately with Uncle Yu in his room again. The uncle fretted over her delay, so Genie assured Joker he'd search for Selim at once. Zhani dressed and armed himself in his room, ready for action. He texted his building group, asking them to come to apartment 1301 for rewards and a meal. He quietly warned Shua, "If you value life, stay away from here." Soon after, everyone was filled with excitement and anticipation. Since other buildings were gone, following Genie for supplies and safety became their only hope. Standing outside, Genie heard the crowd, then simply tossed 2 grenades inside before shutting the door tight. Everyone thought their fortunes had just improved. Suddenly, 2 grenades ignite the area, setting everything ablaze in an instant. The door is shattered completely apart. Donnie, praying his barrier held, surveys the devastation staining the whole space. A lone survivor angrily questions why he was aided then attacked. Genie answers that he ensured their survival, so now a debt is owed him. He's simply reclaiming what belongs to him. After destroying his apartment's inhabitants, Genie says he's ended all old enemies except Xing Jiang, thanks to Jaeker. Once home, he informs Uncle Yu that danger has struck. Some neighbors revolted and eliminated Selim. Together with other buildings, they conspired against them, but Jin Yui ended it, letting some slip away. Tears streaming, Uncle Yu blames himself, angrily strikes the bed, making Jin Yui suspect maybe he's also incredibly strong, not just able to heal. He advises him to settle down. Jin Yi admits blame too, but vows to find someone special for Uncle Yu in this harsh world. Uncle Yu goes red while Jiang Yi, faced with the crying baby, hears Zhou Kor say nothing stops its tears. He silently asks if she's tried that solution. She grows embarrassed, saying those are indeed meant for Jiang Yi. Main character vows to find a woman to nurse the child. Before it's clear if Uncle Yu hears this, Jiang Yi heads off to Lian's building with the baby. This building might be the only untouched by his fire. Calling out, he tells Lian that his help is needed. Johnny asks whether fear has set in. Lian confesses fear but says fleeing is useless, and coming with a baby shows no ill intent. He requests they help find a mother for the baby. There is nourishment waiting for whoever takes the infant. Johnny assures he won't threaten the building or him, certain no tricks will arise. Lai, not overly grateful, accepts caring for the child and swiftly entrusts a woman with the baby and supplies, telling her that all things here are truly shared. Johnny, seeing the survivors in the building, ponders their fate when the food is gone. Lai claims they'll die with dignity, but the main guy suggests a solution using what he burned previously. Lian insists that's not an option. No matter how Jan Hai tries to change his mind, Lian stays resolute. Jiang Yi confesses his respect for Lian, who in turn values Zhang Yi for safeguarding everyone. Lian pauses, about to ask something, but Jiang Yi interrupts with a firm refusal. Lian notes Janny once brought food to every building and pleads for help since only one remained. Johnny turns him down and starts to leave, but then has second thoughts. He warns that his help will bring disaster, dooming them as it did the others. Choosing instead, he hands over his seeds, trusting they might become independent if they sow them. For once, Johnny gives selflessly, offering his last seeds with no hidden intent as snow covers the land. Lian inquires if they can plant them and an elderly biology teacher replies, "It can be done." He adds that though slim, a little hope still survives. Elsewhere in luxury, Johnny announces the neighbor's issue is solved, focusing now on a new safe haven. Later, Joker returns, asks if he's finished working, removes her coat, wondering what's for dinner. Joker starts to cook, but the mischievous hero stops her and says she should try to guess his wishes. She hesitates, pointing out her uncle nearby, but Janny assures her the house shields all sound. Morning comes and the weary Joker remains asleep, so Johnny invites Sua to visit. Suha quickly arrives to answer Johnny's invitation. The same young man once castigated under Jang Yi's orders now sits in Johnny's welcoming home. Celebrating respect, he chooses the floor over the sofa while waiting for the chief. Jin Yi wants answers about his arrangements with Wang Yi Minute. Before Su Hao explains, Jang Yi commands silence and for him to hand over his phone, alarming him. Zhani persists, hurry up and give it. He's determined to read all the messages exchanged with Wang himself. Su Hao quietly advises against it. With doubt in her eyes, Zhani seizes his collar, asking if he's concealing any secrets. After being threatened, Su Hao reluctantly gives him the phone. Su Hao confesses he spoke poorly of Zhani, insisting it was just for show and not to be taken to heart. Zhani learns Su Hao shared details with Wang Yi and suggested allying against Jing Yi, but Su Hao insists it's only to earn the wealthy man's trust. Considering this, Zhani realizes Wang Yi knows about his weapons, Snowmobile, and safe house. He hatches a plan to use this knowledge to his benefit. Genie tells Suha to reveal all details he has to Wang Yi Min's home. If he omits a thing, his life is at stake. Suha reveals the underground fortress built with rocket scraps, Booby trapped with gas and guarded by flamethrowers. Basically, invading it seems impossible. The only entrance requires those inside to allow anyone in, so Jang Yi thinks of disabling the traps. Su Hao proposes staging Jang Yi's capture so Wang Yi Min will invite him in. Jang Yi dislikes this impersonation plan, yet finds it to be the sole feasible path. He ponders using his spatial skills in new ways, Jang Yi's odd expression betraying the sudden idea. Then he orders Su Hao to go and promises to contact him within 2 or 3 days. Suha desperately asks about the antidote, but Johnny assures him there's still plenty of time before the poison acts, then slams the door and mentally sifts for trickier uses of his powers. He sinks into contemplation. All of a sudden, he starts a blaze indoors, attempting to absorb it using his ability. If it can be stored like preserved rations, he thinks, that would be outstanding. He draws all the flames into himself unharmed, then blasts them back in a fiery burst. He is overjoyed by the incredible heightened agency this gift brings him. If he accomplished that, could greater feats await him? He considers pulling a person into the space, so Johnny searches for a subject from Lian's building to try with. He throws down a stick before the man, offering bread as a reward if he manages to hit it. The man distrusts Johnny's odd wish to be struck. Does he secretly enjoy pain? Still, hunger convinces him to hit hard, and as planned, Johnny traps him in another realm. Inside, Johnny inspects the domain governed by his powers. The man stands paralyzed, motionless, appearing devoid of life. No heartbeat or breath, logical since food remains unspoiled and unchanged here. Time stands still when Johnny releases him, life returns and he brushes off the wood. Johnny questions what he experienced moments before. Shaken, he admits fear, feeling dead in an endless white space filled with resources. Startling Jang Yi, he dismisses it as a dream yet realizes time inside runs differently. Beings do not perish quickly, but prolonged exposure may ruin one's sanity. It remains uncertain if animated objects are harder to absorb than inanimate things. Wanting answers, he severs several of the man's fingers as a test. They remain trapped. Now tell me, clever readers, how might Shenji's gift truly operate? After the ordeal, Johnny bandages his wounds. Notice his kindness, though fingerless and deranged, the man is at least well fed. Johnny learns he is able to force objects from his controlled realm. Yet living beings cannot be expelled or absorbed in this fashion. It seems one must leap at a portal, fire can slip through and be thrown any which way. Johnny now feels certain these secrets give him what he needs to overcome Wang Min. He appreciates his test subject, who thanks him, saying the fare was worth his missing fingers. Abruptly, Johnny targets the guy's neck and swiftly brings him down. With nothing more to gain, evil Genie says, after your feast your journey ends. Oddly at peace, vision darkening is relieved by release from such a painful world. Back home, Genie starts tracking others from Linen's place for sparring over the next 3 days. 3 days later, with nefarious deeds done, Jangi contacts Su Hao for conversation. Yet Su Hao first pleads for the cure, as the poison's effects seem to be accelerating. He senses a change. Jangi observes his eating improves, but he looks worse, all sparked by a faked shot, proving psychology's influence. The main character offers a temporary remedy, saying, I'll ease your suffering a bit, hang on. As he applies it, he warns its relief will last only until their raid on Wang Simon's underground lair. Grateful, Su Hao thanks the master, saying the operation can now commence. He then contacts Wang Simon to set up a meeting. He suspects Jing Yi may be planning something unexpected. Later, he packs and tells Jacques about an upcoming mission, leaving her confused as local problems are solved. She asks why, but he promises explanations later, asking her to remain in the building for now. He leaves nearly a month's supply of food for her and Uncle Yu, as Joe Kerr, concerned, tries to stop him. It is always risky beyond these walls. He replies that he is the danger others fear outside. He gently kisses her, assuring all will be well and safe. Her nerves settle upon hearing his reassurance. There's a mischievous undertone, friends. While the plan is to reach the bunker, Suha ends up restrained behind. The main character clarifies that appearances must be maintained. Together, they journey deeper into the city streets. Eventually, they arrive in the condominium district, the city's wealthiest locale. Johnny observes from its lofty position the houses are untouched by snow. Topography is key to less snowfall, though I still don't fully understand. On foot from the entrance, they avoid the snowmobile as they walk towards Wang Simon's home. A woman viewing from her house notices them arriving astride a snowmobile. Glancing at her barren pantry, she thinks this could be her moment. By the time they reach Wang Simon's estate, night has fallen. Jin Yi instructs Sa at the entrance how to summon the privileged one. Fearing gunfire, he faces the camera and declares, "Astonishing, illustrious, charming Simon." He announces, "I'm here about the snowmobile meeting." Meanwhile, the affluent youth wonders why today, not tomorrow as scheduled, they ended up here. The snowmobile's missing, yet Su Hao asks brother Wang Simon, "Could you please let us enter?" Su Hao whispers, "This is an exclusive opportunity for you to obtain what you desire most." W. Simon states that if they misbehave, they'll be finished. Inside, Jiang Yi sees that her apartment cannot compare to this place. Suha cautiously proceeds, gripped with fear at the possibility of a gunshot. He assures them the place beyond the door is truly his house as they continue inside. Wang Simon triggers a button, and security devices fill the corridor with smoke. On camera, thick gas spreads and frantic cries ring from the two trapped within. Once all falls quiet, Simon comments that now the guests shall receive proper hospitality. But unbeknownst to him, a secret plays out amid the cloud of gas. Genie, hidden behind a gas mask, pulls all the gas into a dimensional thieving space. Minutes later, the door slides open. Their ambush plan fails since the wealthy youth doesn't come, so Jiang Yi feigns hunger and weakness as Su Hao explains that only Wang Simon and lovely women reside here. A guard gives the hero a firm check to confirm he's down, then drops him carelessly onto the bunk. In that instant, Jiang Yi realizes he sees a famed TV actor and suspects he's Wang Simon's acquaintance. Inside, he dumps them to the floor, binds them, and comments on the impressive security system. The rich man remarks this is clear, considering the bunker fetched $1 billion in construction. They leave, discussing Genie's sly move to stash the snowmobile, prompting him to search for it. Mid their conversation, Genie smartly releases the captured gas precisely back toward them. "Brother Lin, why are you losing your balance?" "I'm fine, yet why are you getting smaller?" As the men fall, Johnny effortlessly shakes off his bonds. Suhawa and the two elites drop, felled by the gas, leaving Johnny at last unhindered. He swiftly binds the duo and takes away their firearms. Finding gilded desert eagles, Genie keeps them as his own, following his personal ideals. The place was lavish and sprawling. As he explored it, he found an indoor farm now to call his own. Upstairs, he entered game rooms where the girls rumored by Suha slept, surprisingly unconscious in another space marked dogs and cats. Trust cosplayers lay amid strewn garments covering the floor in chaotic disarray. One cosplayer, alert and weeping, pleaded pitiably with Mr. Wang Simon for mercy, vowing they only wished for freedom and offering anything if he would release them. Without hesitation, Jingi struck her, saying he finally understood the truth about this place. After a few tense flashes, quiet enveloped the room, and in the security hub, Jangi realized he'd found the chaos's source. Every event traced back to this command post and was managed from here. He inspected many sealed rooms, but facing locked doors, gave up and revived the wealthy pair by splashing their faces. "Do you hear me now?" he inquired. The confused rich man panicked and recoiled. Jingi emphasized that magicians never disclose mysteries, and there were more vital issues. He questioned Wang Simon about working together, and Simon agreed under the condition of safety. Jin Yi demanded he reside there with Simon beside him, fitting for such a grand home. Wang incredulously asked if the request was simply to coexist, not to claim the home or its residents. Genie assured him his only wish was company. An empty grand house felt far too solitary. Wang cheered and suggested friendship, and Jingi agreed that befriending Simon after the passage of winter was wise. Simon concurred but suspected Shangyi lacked the nerve to harm him, and for his release, Jani demanded expertise in security and codes. Simon resigned himself to agree, but insisted upon Jingi's vow not to inflict harm. Jingi gave his word that he would not injure the innocent. With no alternatives left, Wang Simon complied as the wealthy tutor revealed every code and procedure. With secrets in hand, Johnny felt secure as he assured Jangi about the plan for Simon. Johnny grinned subtly and conceded. He solemnly produced a blade, severed one of Simon's vocal cords and calmly soothed him, saying the pain would soon disappear. In a gentle manner, he aided Simon's last moments to make his passage serene. Mute now, Simon pondered Jangi's reasoning, and Genie, as if sensing that thought, observed that there was no merit in letting a useless man live. Perhaps this conviction stemmed from witnessing the trapped girls inside those rooms. Yeah, that must be it. After dealing with the two, Jangi cleaned up the mess from Wang Simon and his friend. He pondered what to do with Su Hao, who had been helpful and made everything go smoothly. While thinking, Su Hao woke up and saw the scene. Jangi wanted to hide, him cleaning up. But when released, Su Hao was just happy that the awful Wang Simon was gone, well-deserved for his actions. Jangi pointed to a backpack full of food, saying it was his reward for a job well done. Hearing food, Su Hao rushed over and started eating right there. The problem was that Jangi mentioned the house's power wouldn't last long with the generators and the food was running out, so that was all the reward he could offer for taking over the bunker. Su Hao, hearing this, refused to accept and questioned if he heard correctly. The protagonist confirms it, saying Wang Simon lived here with a bunch of people and they ate everything, probably because of all the women. Sounds about right, but Su Hao isn't buying it. He accuses Jangi of hiding the good stuff and not sharing. Frustrated, he kicks the food backpack, refusing to accept it. He risked a lot for this place and feels cheated with such a small reward. Suha insists Jan Yi is lying. He angrily approaches the protagonist, threatening that if Genie doesn't kill him, he'll spill the beans about Jean Yi's supplies and powers to others. If not him, someone stronger will take Genie down. In a fit of rage, Genie shoots Su Hao in the chest. Su Hao hits the ground, unable to react because he's foolish. Genie remarks that anger only weakens you, not strengthens you. Without power, don't challenge those who have it. Taking back the backpack, Janny reflects that he was going to spare Su Hao and even gave him food. So why did Su Hao choose his own doom? Later, the protagonist sits in the living room, a whirlwind of thoughts in his mind. If KR were here it would be perfect, but what about Uncle Yu? Maybe Uncle can stay in the apartment and he can move here with KR. Wandering through the bar, he notes something's missing. He promised to find a lovely girl for Uncle Yu. How will he do that? No idea yet. He decides to grab a drink and check if the TV works. Surprisingly, there's cable TV with channels from everywhere. Curious about this, he discovers a network room. The mansion has its own internet server, connecting to the internet via Elon Musk's satellite. Genie can access global information with this setup. Searching the computers, he finds loads of stuff. Key info includes reports from other countries about people with special abilities. Some control fire, others turn green, most though are deformed or have useless traits. Jingi decides powered people existing gives yet another reason to remain safe in this shelter. Right now, his main priority is to find his partner and safely bring her to this place. Just as he prepares to start up the snowmobile, a gentle voice calls out to him. On instinct, he quickly grabs his gun, bracing for possible trouble. It's the red-haired girl he'd noticed earlier when he first arrived here. He approaches and requests a favor from him. He realizes she's Yangmi, China's recent sensation, pursued by men all across the nation. It's astonishing, he thinks, as she says she hasn't eaten properly and asks to come with him. Times are harsh for everyone now, so she must provide a good reason if she wants to join him. She agrees to any conditions for food, her gesture quietly implying she's open to compromise. Jin Yui blushes, almost lost in thought, feeling captivated by her. He pulls himself together and tells her to come with him. They head back, and at the door, she asks if this place was Wang Simon's mansion. Jangi says it now belongs to him. Inside, she removes her coat, thanks him, then asks his link to Wang Shimin. Instead of answering, Jangi questions her about how she knew Wangan. Do all wealthy individuals typically know each other? She says their families meet at high-class spots and formal events, so it's nothing unusual. Jangi tells her not to worry about Wangan. Wangan no longer lives here. They sip tea to get warm, and she asks if she can shower before more talking. He agrees. She quickly undresses and steps away to take a shower. Everyone, let's stay calm. The girl privately admits he's quite an appealing man. When it comes to survival, she is open to making tough decisions. She means to ask to stay here until the harsh cold lessens, wondering about what she must trade. Blushing, she reasons with herself. It's a mutual exchange since she needs safety, so she leaves the bathroom wrapped in a towel and rejoins him. Without hesitation, she asks him if she can remain here. It's not easy for a vulnerable woman to survive alone amid such relentless hardship. She tries her usual method, coaxing that a short secret won't ever be exposed. Jeannie clasps her hand gently as they head for more wine together. He wonders if she really believes that soon the ice will vanish and life will go back to normality. She asserts it must. Given that's true, he accepts but says she has ground rules. Jeannie cannot reveal their contact after things thaw, since her fame could suffer greatly. He consents. Jeannie's new rule is to obey his requests, starting with enjoying athletic activities together. They exert themselves as a couple. Afterwards, Johnny displays his ability by crafting her fresh attire. Amazed, she asks if he's some kind of skilled magician. If true, she's interested. Still wrapped in a towel, Jeannie impresses further by magically making a full meal including pizza and roast chicken appear. Following his commands lets her relish in such luxury. By simply cooperating, she can feast, and already she's craving the dishes. Jeannie urges her to accept wisely while she ponders her reluctance. As a celebrity, discretion is vital, so she stresses her reputation is everything and wants more limits set. Their secret arrangement only lasts while the world is frozen. Everything between them remains in complete secrecy. Staring into her eyes, Johnny gently calls her beautiful. With embarrassment, she asks she not be forced into anything too suggestive. If he agrees, a lively friendship between them is assured. Johnny leans in, telling her not to demand too much since she came to him, and fun for him means fun for her. He opens the door as she hesitates. She agrees, and Jeannie mentions finding another person for the condo. Before leaving, he wonders if there are more affluent people living here whom she recognizes. If everyone here was wealthy, perhaps they managed to persist. Johnny's real question is if she knows a lovely woman he could meet. She mentions most of the rich are older. Will his friend care? That's ideal for him. Since his friend is already 40, she brings up someone named Jo Heim. Once revered as a goddess, Jangi asks her to call the woman and she explains everything. After a few moments, the famed Zhu appears. Jingi displays his gift by creating food, then offers it to her. That's the very reason she's here, so he promptly asks her if she also understands everything. A swap is arranged. He'll provide food in exchange for his friend's provisions. As they leave, Jean Yui warns that should word spread, both their lives are at risk. Nearby the upscale flats in Shu, determined folks ready themselves to brave cold and dig snow. They're prepared for cold, will break ice and fish for their meal. As they fish, something unusual approaches in the distance. It's a snow vehicle, and a striking woman travels with it. The noise sends the fishermen's wolves in pursuit, sleds in tow, one lunging at Jiang Yi with a trident. James tumbles from the vehicle, anxious for the woman Uncle Jiang Yi's with. He stands before her, making it clear by gesturing toward them. He remarks, "You know I'm armed," and the bold men boldly ask about his ammo. And he stopped them all. Still, they'll gamble for a chance at the snowmobile. Zhani reasons he doesn't wish to kill but warns he'll turn deadly if pushed. One man proposes that if he leaves woman and snowmobile, they'll let him go. Joheim, worried this offer might be real, chills, but Zhani staunchly questions their sanity. The man boldly argues they shouldn't miss out on searching for more supplies. Zhani realizes he's left with no else choices. He draws his Desert Eagle and fires at them all. Bullet catches the first man in the forehead, the shot summoning the dogs close. Genie activates his storage skill to pull the wolves into a different dimension. Zohaim hops onto the sled and both of them swiftly escape. Those left return to discover the fallen and notice their dogs have inexplicably vanished. They gaze about, bewildered and unsure where the dogs vanished. Stranger ended the lives of their kin and stole away with their dogs. They refuse to overlook this offense. Driven by vengeance, they bear the bodies back to the heart of the village. Inside the village castle, an otaku tightly embraces his beloved Dakimakura. "Do you like that as well? There's no need to hide it, I already know the truth." Villagers bested by Jangi confront the otaku, disgusted, asking if he truly prefers fiction to reality. The boy, lost in fantasy, is startled awake when they yank his blanket away. He is so engrossed that even an audience sees him act as if no one is watching. He says, "Wait outside, I'm spending time with my love," then goes to speak with the men. They share news about a man with a snowmobile and a real, beautiful companion. Wishing for justice and that snowmobile, they crave vengeance for their fallen kin. They seek help from the otaku, suspecting the stranger's power is like his. They want to capture Jiang Yi and the vehicle. The otaku feels chosen by the divine and believes the new power has come to help him ascend. Chan accepts the hunt. The elders say their tribe fears no one and praise the otaku's brave resolve. Their confidence rests in Yang Chun. Jiang Yi and Zoho Hai could soon arrive at the building, serving as their refuge. The woman is quiet with sorrow, resigned to be with a stranger for survival's sake. Jo Kerr welcomes her weary and distant partner who's been unable to return for days. Seeing another woman present, Jaeokris blushes, unaware of Jangi's affection for mature women as the hero invites the guest to sit. He tells Jock she's not for him, explaining her visit is for Uncle Yu, though Jingi sees value in all. How is Uncle Yu doing these days anyway? He recovered within a week, a miracle since such healing should have taken months. Jingi always told Jaekir to keep Uncle Yu sedated, but the moment came to finally free him. Jingi's worry is other empowered people exist, so safeguarding Uncle Yu and friendship is now vital. Inside, Uncle Yu thrives, grateful for his nephew's help, healthy with a handsome new look. Newly revitalized, Uncle Yu senses a surge of physical energy. He wants to show his strength and tries to smash the bed with his hand. Johnny, surprised, tells him to relax and not break anything. Johnny reminds Uncle Yu not to see himself as some kind of monster. Uncle Yu's only transformed. He was once a tadpole, now he's a frog ready for new things. Johnny demonstrates his own talents and lets Uncle Yu in on the secret behind the food. Joyful, Uncle Yu smacks the bed, easily breaking it to pieces as it crashes below. Johnny quickly checks on him to ensure he's alright. Uncle Yu laughs and says it's fine, still adapting, when Jiang Yi hints at a wife and a surprise. He leads Uncle Yu to the living room, ready to reveal his special surprise. Uncle Yu recognizes the person right away. He asks, "Are you Zoho Haim?" She confirms and asks if he's uncle. Overjoyed, Jangi declares this house is their future together. Jangi says he and Jaeok will move into another place now. As they go, Johnny gifts Uncle Yu a snowmobile to help collect groceries. Uncle Yu protests, but Jangi unveils his stylish new snow-going vehicle. Now their abilities are out and everyone is amazed, while Jeannie and Jaekir head to their home. During the ride, Joker wonders aloud if they'll like the new house. Jeannie promises a spacious, comfortable home greater than their small flat. He lets her know that someone else will be there so she'll be aware. Joker frowns, suspecting another woman could be living with them. Jeannie reassures her it's just a helper around the house, nothing more. She asks for confirmation and he promises she's his only love. Relieved, Joe smiles and lightens up again. Johnny is relieved to avoid a rebellious companion as they drive through snow. Then a stronger tornado slams into them. Johnny channels his powers to cast the swirling tornado away into another realm. Yet suddenly, a new tornado forms on the horizon. Jonu suspects an enemy with abilities, so he turns the car around and flees. He absorbs the multiplying tornadoes into his power stash as more appear. An anime lover is revealed as the hidden foe. Ending off these persistent attacks leaves him utterly drained. His friends want to know if he's holding up. He assures them he's fine but craves a break to recover. Discovering the enemy's strength leaves them uneasy. Jangi halts, retrieves a rifle from storage and reasons the attacker must be exhausted, so he counterattacks. Jangi steps from the car and opens fire on the snowdrift. Strike to the leg causes one to scream for help. With 2 adversaries remaining, the otaku ponders how Jangi spots them, as Jangi fires again. Shang conjures tornadoes, but they are swiftly dismissed. Though he struggles, Shan's efforts prove utterly futile. Puzzled by Jangi's might, they hear Jangi declare, "Now you recognize the true gap between us." They stop fighting back, yet danger still lingers for Jaekir's safety. Zhani proclaims, "If you dare come for me, remember, we will clash where I command." Janyu climbs back in and Jaekir urgently asks if he finished them all off. He denies it, predicting the others will seek revenge soon. He asks since she's familiar with all her boyfriend's reactions. They move on, leaving their weakened foes behind, still alive. Inside the shelter, his red-haired love eagerly awaits his safe return. Upon arrival, he invites Yangi to meet his newfound companion. She inquires if her friend is truly involved with him, and that's basically the situation. Zhani brings her fresh outfits to wear, and honestly she truly looks amazing in them. Intent on making her intentions known, Yalmi adorns herself in makeup and a smart dress to face her adversary, delighting Jangi as she arrives. Soon the lovely red-haired girl follows, and both are taken aback at seeing each other. Joker steps nearer to Yangmi, hands clenched as if she's preparing for confrontation. Genie intervenes, asking if they are acquainted, and Joker replies that Yangmi's her cousin. Genie, startled, stands between them, uncertain as tension rises. Yangmi wants things secret, yet Genie wonders if there's anything to hide. Yangmi hesitates, unsure if their agreement is fleeting, amidst their famous medical relatives. Joker dislikes her cousin, feeling Yangmi brings embarrassment to their lineage. Their peers tease them since Yangmi chose Chao, and Joker is most irked by Yangmi's bad acting. Zhani wonders what matters about that. Yalmi causes jokes by using charm for gain, which shames the family. Zhani reminds them it no longer matters as the old circle is gone and it's all behind them. From now forward, they must find harmony and coexist joyfully beneath one roof. He chooses to show them through their new home and explain the tasks they have there. Both girls are eager when they see the garden room, excited that caring for it will be their chore. Yalmi thanks him for safeguarding her, proposing their secret connection could remain hidden. Zhani consents, respecting her wish while silently wondering about managing this dynamic trio. To express gratitude, Yalmi offers to cook their meal and walks to the kitchen. Searching for food, she finds all the shelves in the pantry completely bare. While she continues, Jangi appears behind her, whispers slyly, and she blushes, unsure of his intent. She asks what he's doing and what if his future wife discovers them. Ignoring her protest, he produces ingredients from his magical stash, saying, "This is their new way." Though she's well aware of his gifts, she's still impressed, and he playfully taps her as he waits for food. Once it's ready, they dine together. Joker nervously tastes it first and complains that it's much too salty. Yalmi, blushing, confesses she struggled to pay attention amid all the commotion. Observing tension between the cousins, Jangi plots to turn the situation in his favor. He pampers Joker, feeding her with kindness while she cheerfully flaunts before her cousin. She pretends indifference but keeps it up throughout dinner, then asks at bedtime who he likes more. Johnny strokes her hair and says affectionately, "Naturally it's you." Joker is his trusted doctor, so she's vital to him, and she surpasses everyone in beauty. As Johnny kisses her forehead and embraces her to sleep, he muses that love is absurd. Only interests truly matter. In the following days, Johnny trains in archery each morning. One day his phone rings with a call. Ignoring the unknown caller, he quickly blocks the contact. Nothing external concerns him, but the same number calls again, irritating him. He wonders how this happens, hangs up, blocks it, yet the number persistently returns. His nerves frazzle, and suddenly the phone answers on its own. The stranger asks about his reluctance to answer. Johnny realizes he knows personal details like birthdays and secret ID. Eventually, the caller also brings up his mansion, adding the deal is simple. The hacker demands food, clothing, and drink to keep Johnny's details secret. Though the hero doubts its value, the heavy-voiced hacker claims proof of Jangi's theft from the warehouse. Threatening exposure, the hacker insists the powerful city folk will hunt him, knowing he's stalked. The cunning man reveals his identity and job history. Johnny recognizes the hacker's firm. Johnny now suspects the hacker has access to the mansion's security system. He tries denying he has supplies, but it fails. Angered, he still listens to the terms. Security rests on cameras and digital locks. The hacker could turn these off, putting Jingi at risk. The demand, all items must be delivered specifically to Villa 302. If Johnny resists, all will be revealed. Frustrated, he goes to his wife for comfort in the living room. Joker wonders gently why he appears so distraught. Johnny reveals the hacker uncovered their location and threatened to expose him, leaving them at risk. His girlfriend remarks that rumors about celebrities are frequent and mostly untrustworthy. But for non-celebrities with personal details, the hacker's threat is substantial and real. Jean thinks of killing the hacker but fears the data will be released anyway. Joker recalls that tech firms secretly dealt with hackers, yet hackers always had a fallback. Johnny sees killing the hacker won't prevent exposure, but while Joker wants to relax, Johnny urges urgency. Yalmi walks past on her way to meditate since she's well known, and Jeannie quickly sums up the threat, asking her advice. Yang Mai likens the situation to online gossip about well-known individuals. Suddenly, Jeannie proposes making the data seem like rumor, Confusing the others, he says he'll set things up, then explain. Meanwhile, the hacker calls in from his high-tech room and asks about the drop-off. Zhani, furious, threatens him but admits he won't do it because of the leverage. With a chuckle, the hacker warns that if harmed, info blasts to everyone's phones in a day. Zhani grasps he only has a single day to resolve the crisis. He declares he's resilient and agrees to comply with the hacker, cutting off the call. Zhani's plan is to plant fake news about a theft to flood the story with confusion, making it doubtful. After seeding these lies, Zhani stretches, grabs his bag and readies himself for the next task. He leaves the backpack precisely where instructed, then silently backs away. He hides, poised with his rifle, eyes trained on his intended target. Zhani updates the hacker about the drop, leaving, yet spots no one arriving to collect the bag after waiting. He debates contacting the hacker again but refrains to avoid appearing suspicious. After long hours, finally someone exits the door and approaches the backpack. With resolve, Zhani fires. The laser fatally strikes the approaching figure's head. He dashes over, fires a few more ensuring shots, then checks the home to find a notebook during his search. Although tempted to destroy it at once, Zhani hides the notebook in case it's valuable later. Task completed, Zhani leaves the location. Jeannie arrives home, stretches out and enjoys the warmth. Tonight, Joker was the cook. As both girls serve him, he wonders if they received any new notifications. They confirm with a nod, showing their phones trending with news of a warehouse theft. He confesses they were his handiwork. He sent endless fake alerts, hiding the truth once it spilled among deceptions. Using the control room, he schedules these decoys to post each day for a period. Naomi, obviously thrilled, admires his brilliance. She thinks of celebrities dwarfed by bigger scandals arriving later through the news. He employed the same ruse. She finds him charming and sharp-minded. Joker wonders what if someone still tries chasing them, couldn't it still be perilous? Zhani's silent for a while, then Joker assures him of her trust in his plans. Yet in Tanwi City, tech experts and hackers might breach their systems. Jeannie concedes unless civilization collapses, dangers always loom nearby. Learning dangers constant unsettles them, but Zhani says there's an alternative answer. Even the thought of being caught unaware leaves him unsettled deep inside. Determined, he sets out to make their shelter even safer than before. He assures the girls he believes in his security, but rest isn't an option yet. The red-haired girl blushes softly, lost in a private thought she won't voice out loud. Zhani, unsure of her meaning, gently pats her head and says traps, not only gadgets, will help. Zhani says their bunker can handle bombs but not people, so they'll beef up anti-intruder defenses. Both girls, eager, promise to help and watch Zhani gather the wood and nails for them. They decide to craft traps from planks and bury them beneath the snow outside. He describes other clever traps and considers that intruders may start searching for them. With that, an inspired plan begins taking root in his mind. They arrange the traps and Jingi skillfully buries the explosives under the snow. Anyone who tries to expose those traps will be removed, and those disturbing tripwired grenades will also meet disaster. After considerable effort, they make sure the mansion grounds are well protected. Back at home, Yomi asks when intruders will come, wanting to watch the traps, but Jeannie questions her sanity. He explains it's best if the traps are never used, sitting down and saying most people wisely avoid such secure places. He eventually understands it's better to have the traps as a safeguard. Soon after, Zhang Yi is already crafting another security defense. Despite the digital locks, he insists on adding mechanical ones to ensure nobody opens the door from outside. The entrance quickly becomes much safer, and Yang Yi appreciates joining him more each day. Thanks to these efforts, she feels safer here, but Zhang Yi suggests a tech expert could secure their digital systems. Yami says if Zenzen were around it would help. Joker then asks if she's in the city and alive. Yami explains this brilliant computer girl is actually her younger sister. Sitting in a wheelchair, she's devoted to computers and technology. Both girls living with him are beautiful and, as cousins, they also mention having a tech-savvy relative. Maybe she can manage security. Zhang Yi first wonders if she'll be as pretty but thinks her beauty could cause trouble anyway. Zhang Yi then asks how to locate her. Yang Mai says they've heard nothing, her sister won't answer and she hopes she's safe. Ginny teases that maybe she ignores them because she's too clever. One girl is irritated as he suggests maybe geniuses fill her family except for her. Yami is annoyed at his teasing, but he soothes by saying her beauty is almost as good as intelligence. However, more pressing concerns occupy their thoughts right now. He spends days refining archery, hitting his targets with a newfound precision. He considers that this latest skill could benefit his physical self. After tryouts, he starts to feel nearly unstoppable. But every use of power sharpens his hunger's bite. It's clear now, the greater the power, the more it drains his energy. He wonders how much strength it takes to phase things away. If using power drains food, the one with endless resources wields limitless abilities while the rest can only do so within their means. At a clandestine defense facility, the commander worries about power restrictions at the base. His aide hands him reports, stating they've received the most recent intelligence. She brings up an old supermarket heist, but a report naming Jing Yi as the architect of a major warehouse theft stands out. While the report claims Zhang Yi, a young warehouse supervisor, led the vanishing of supplies, the head dismisses him in disbelief. Doubting the facts, he changes his mind after insistence and orders investigation of Jang Yi's base. Elsewhere inside the castle, the otaku who lost to Jingi mourns his defeat in despair. Chun once saw himself as divine but now sees he's not the central hero of this story. He questions whether he's merely backup while Jang Yi is the real chosen lead. Dejected, Chun receives a tip-off on his phone hinting Jingi stole a large warehouse haul earlier. With curiosity sparked, Chun connects the reports to realize Jang Yi likely used his powers for that heist. He believes Jang Yi can hide things in another dimension and feels small compared to such might. To his wife, Chun laments Jang Yi might be the hero while he's only a minor rival, unable to win. Deciding it's wiser to ally with Jang Yi instead of opposing him, Chun happily goes to alert the village. He rushes to his grandfather, insisting Jang Yi is powerful and best left undisturbed. Chun shares all he knows, from Jang Yi's strength to his ability to nullify powers of others. He suspects Jang Yi has even greater skills and tells his clan to keep away and avoid his path. Chun explains the leak story. Jang Yi was a warehouse supervisor with power over all stored goods. Instead of cautioning the elder, his warning only intensifies the old man's excitement. Enthused, the elder thinks if they steal from Zhani, their clan will want for nothing again. Nervous, Chun calls their scheme wild. The elder shrugs, claiming a supervisor can't beat the Shu family. Meanwhile, Zhani relaxes at home, eating with his wives as Yangmi hears someone at the window. Zhani reassures her and decides to take a look. With binoculars, he spots a group advancing and grabs his rifle for closer view. He plans to let the traps he set take care of the intruders on their own. One intruder triggers a trap with a cry, prompting another to call for help for their companion. The tribe's elder forewarns of more concealed dangers, urging them to search cautiously for traps. The group probes the ground with sticks as they creep near Jang Yi's dwelling. They lift the snares and press on, but one man hits a grenade tripwire, sending a blast skyward. Even those who avoid the direct blast still suffer from scattered fragments. Writhing in pain, a few men activate further explosives on the ground. After repeated bursts and confusion, many are ensnared by both traps and blasts. Fearful, the men begin to retreat from their failed approach. They ponder how they can proceed and stay unharmed. They turn to the old chief. What about attacking without his powerful grandson? They know there's no hope of overcoming Jang Yi without help from the boy. At a loss, they question the absence of the gifted grandson and his much-needed support. Nearby, Zhani observes it all through scope and advanced devices, tracking every move made. The elder recalls the warning. His grandson insisted not to oppose Zhani. Pressed by despair, the leader exclaims why they all stumble against one foe they trust only in others. Individually and together, they need courage and unity to claim the prized treasures within. He presents a spyglass so they can glimpse the reward, plus promises an extra feast for their effort. They peer and agree that the tempting riches displayed inside are indeed real. Despite rewards in sight, they remain unsure about conquering this challenge without their ace. The elder rebukes them, calling failure a disgrace, and urges them to outwit the traps from a distance. With patience, their schemes help them approach closer, growing surer of their security by each step. Anxiously, the girls peek from their safe position at the window. Jang Yi's mind frets over the fate and safety of those people outside. Jaehyuk scorns the onlookers, stating they'll never overcome her skilled beloved. In a split second, Genie sets the charges off remotely, causing a blast that is more targeted and catches most. Looking solemn, Jingi tells them their misfortune started with ignoring the trap warnings. As they advance, he feels no pity for the countless foes standing in their way. The destruction grows so severe that even Joe Kerr, once thrilled, starts to feel pity for them. Yang Mai cannot handle Jang Yi's brutal ways, as seeing the aftermath makes her ill, while Jang Yi observes and remarks, "Those who die at once are the fortunate ones. The unfortunate ones suffer instead," he adds, as the elders watching are seized by dread. Nearly all lie lifeless, their leader recoils, calling Jing Yi a monster. He believes only cruelty could bring this and cries out in anguish. He mourns that everyone perished from his orders as he sought supplies for his kin. Events spiral out of control, so Johnny swaps his gun for his arrows as his new weapon of choice. With remarkable skill, he lets loose 3 arrows together, striking 3 foes between the eyes. A triple precise shot, arrow after arrow claims targets without fail. Witnessing more deaths, the old leader strikes himself, deeply regretful. He pleads with Johnny to end his own suffering as well. Johnny moves to oblige, when suddenly an icy whirlwind blocks vision and leaves the arrows useless. Johnny remains unbothered and quickly readies his rifle. With his rifle, no target is unreachable from afar. Miyataki commands others to flee while sustaining an ice wall. With the injured guided away, Chun resolutely stands his ground. Jean keeps his composure, announcing a plan, securing a vest, and assuring his wives he'll soon be back. As Chun feels secure, a snowmobile careens in, carrying a shooter who attacks from inside. Chaos spreads fast, and even Chun's life is now at serious risk. Helping Hand guides the otaku to retreat with the others. Jeannie follows in a car, catches up, and fires skillfully through the window. Chun now worries none of them will make it out alive. He urges everyone to drop the bodies they're carrying, promising to bury them later, knowing this difficult choice choice would let them escape more swiftly. Reluctantly, they obey and release the bodies behind. Jingi dodges the obstacles and, showing deadly accuracy, drops more foes with double headshots. Chun is forced to flee, his heart pounding with fear. Sudden thought occurs, he realizes he could halt the car's advance. He channels his strength to shatter the earth, freezing the vehicle in place. Zhani continues firing as they escape, only stopping once they're far away. He claims they've now learned they're defenseless against him. He boasts they won't dare to return. He retrieves his car from the crater, passes the fallen, and finds his wives once more. At home, Yoonmi reels from the shock while Joker remains calm and questions what transpired. Did you defeat the one with unusual talents? Genie reveals no, the cunning one escaped with a few, and Chun brings survivors back to his people. His tribe begins to reproach him for not joining the fight from the beginning. All perished, and it's believed that if he joined, they'd have secured the house's stores. Someone asks the otaku to accompany him to the chief's dwelling. Just before, a young woman accuses the otaku. She claims everything is his fault. Had he joined earlier, loved ones might have survived. The elder interrupts, urging peace and calling the otaku in at his grandfather's request. The tribal head asks Chun to approach him. The old man places the burden of the injuries upon himself. He confesses that responsibility for so many deaths is his. It's not Chun's fault, as the grandson pleaded before. The elder admits his pride led everyone into danger. If blame is due, he own it, not his grandson. Tears falling, the old man entrusts the family's future to his grandson, saying he is ready for rest. Claiming exhaustion, the old man breathes his last. Once all the villagers pour in. Their beloved leader has passed away. Departing, Chun remembers his grandfather's wish for him to care for the family. Chun, lost and unsure of his own well-being, notices a lone girl resting by the wall as confusion surrounds him. He approaches, inquiring if he truly is brother Chun in the flesh. Caught off guard, he sheepishly confirms. She introduces herself as Shu Lily, grateful her father lived thanks to him. Though shy about her thanks, Chun begins to rethink blaming himself for others' deaths. He truly is a hero, saving lives. With her father absent, she expresses their gratitude. Recognizing his worth, Chun humbly says helping is natural for neighbors, and after she leaves, his heart races. Could it be that for the first time, this shy young man is smitten with someone real? Inside his head, he instantly imagines sharing a future, even dreaming of children with her. Worried by his eagerness, Chun ponders how to shield his village from the protagonist. Chun now recognizes the protagonist as the biggest danger to them all. Finally, with serious thought, the otaku crafts a way to protect both the villagers and Lily. Meanwhile, the protagonist busily sets more traps, replacing those already used before. His next move, eliminating anyone daring enough to challenge or attack. Exhausted inside, Jingi finds welcome help as the two girls strive to help him relax. I can't say where Joke intended to massage, but it must have been delightful. Mid this relaxing moment, Jang Yi's phone buzzes. Curious, he answers his Xiaomi. He answers the call. Who is this? Chun Chunnel from Shutdown introduces himself, but that's not the focus. Chun expresses gratitude to the protagonist for helping him find love, seeking truce, and Johnny asks if Shutdown tried attacking him. Chun admits the attack, leading the protagonist to press, "You want peace because you know you can't win." The otaku confesses guilt. Since his side was rash, Chun offers that Genie may request any favor in apology. Only then does the protagonist question Chun's authority to speak for Shu Village. Does Chun truly speak for them, and if so, what proof can he present? With new confidence, Jani asserts he's the powerful one who faced Jang Ai twice. Amazed, the protagonist agrees to terms and double-checks, so is any request allowed? Chun replies firmly, anything you wish. Jangi then declares, I want you, Chun, secretly intending to have the otaku's powers at his side. Yet all the otaku believes is that Jangi desires him. Listen, brother, men don't interest me. My goal is your unique abilities, nothing more. To truly stop Jangi's attacks, he must meet him face to face and show he's worthy of peace. Unhappy, the otaku protests, but Jangi says refusal ensures harm. Shun adds unity might help if they survive. Can't we resolve this without meeting? He pleads. Janu says Shu Village is the greatest threat now. He rises and states if he refuses, his people become foes, leaving everything to the otaku. Jenny quickly instructs him to come by 2:30 this afternoon, then ends the call before any response. Believing hope is gone, the otaku sinks to the floor in despair. He mourns his fate, fearing doom before ever living the dreams he's made with his new love. Meanwhile, Genie ponders that with the otaku's abilities, unbounded destiny awaits him. Opportunities flood his mind that he never before imagined possible. This gift beats anything his uncle could offer. He'll decide to befriend or dispose of Chun upon meeting. Weary from trap making, he retreats to his room where he dozes off with a book. Later, Johnny visits with cheerful intent to brighten his subdued mood. Johnny claims she's merely providing him a softer pillow, masking her embarrassment. He rests on her knees, remarking with warmth that it's exactly right. He relaxes on her lap and breathes in her comforting scent. He sighs in comfort. Genie quietly requests, wake me exactly at 2 sharp. Blushing, Jingi whispers assurance, and some fragrant hours later, Jang Yi is at his surveillance spot. From afar, Jang Yi sees Chun come by himself and slip, doubting any menace in this awkward boy. He stumbles and falls once more. Witnessing endless clumsiness, Jangi reconsiders, preparing to talk. Chun rings to say he's there. Surrounded by too many traps, Chun says advancing is fatal. best for Jangi to meet him instead. When Jin Yi arrives, Chun introduces himself, calmly stating he's come to make peace. Jangi retorts that their conflict began with Chun's people's aggression, so they must make amends. Chun confesses his fault and humbly seeks forgiveness for what he has done. Jin Yu asks who issued the attack and must die before talks begin, learning it was the otaku's deceased grandfather, the village head. Jangi, sensing ease, asks if the otaku seeks vengeance for his grandfather and fellow villagers. Chun shares that after losing his parents, only his grandfather meant something, but now he suffers for causing his death. Chun feels detached from the villagers, preferring to stay isolated in his room with his computer. Enthusiastic, Chun admires Jangi's bravery. Jangi acknowledges him but isn't ready to forgive yet. Chun must earn forgiveness by working at Jangi's side. Chun longs to embrace Jangi, but Jangi says the time has not come. There are further terms to follow. Chun must follow without question, and his mind humorously drifts, wondering if Jangi wants affection. Jangi urges him to stop joking. Jin Yi retrieves an action figure from storage, presenting it as a reward. Working for Jangi, he can receive more rewards beyond simply keeping Chun's family safe. Now a new mission awaits them. In the car, Chun asks if the figure shapes time in the space, curious about Jangi's mighty powers. Zhani imagines that traveling back 3 months means he might control both time and space, and after racing through snowy fields they test Chun's abilities. With his snow powers, Chun swiftly opens a way to a snow-buried gas station. Zhani sees Chun's gift could simplify gathering supplies for storage. As a treat, he offers Chun chocolate, knowing energy is what Chun's power thrives on. Zhani enters the gas station, collects goods, then comes back. Chun praises Zhani, calling him incredible. Their powers suit the challenges they face, and Zhani compliments Chun's impressive ability too. He admits he'd never thought to use it to uncover things or even dream of leaving his room. He jokes that his attention was always on his virtual wives. Zhani assures Chun that loyal service brings reward, giving him a backpack of food for the day. Chun beams with joy, pledging eternal loyalty and vowing to be by his side always. During their journey home, the bond between them deepens noticeably. Jin Yi wonders aloud how Chun first realized he possessed these unusual gifts. Bashfully, Chun confides that after losing his parents he retreated into the 2D world and after over 26 incidents he thought he was done for, yet woke up empowered. Zhani hides his face, feeling secondhand embarrassment at Chun's admission. Never did he imagine someone could awaken special power after nearly perishing 26 times. He advises Chun to walk the rest of the way since the icy lake halts any further car travel. Before Chun departs, Jin Yi cautions him to stay vigilant out there. In the ruins of this world, many things, even familiar faces, pose real threats. As the otaku heads home, the protagonist stands in solitude once more. Sitting in the car, the man muses that Chun has a genuinely good heart. Once at home, the new head reproaches Chun for engaging Zhani without help. Chun assumed he was capable, but cooperation, not vengeance, was the goal. The leader is upset. Angered, the old leader accuses Chun of causing loss and seeking heroism by bonding with foes. Chun explains he acted to fulfill his grandfather's wish to defend the village by stopping Chang. The man argues that the reason for Chun's actions isn't important. As Zhu clan leader, he insists Chun get approval before taking risks, no lone actions allowed. He claims he protects all. Defending Chun from exile means Chun now owes him and must atone. Raising his voice, the elder demands that Chun fully understands his new responsibilities. Chun silently agrees, sent off to rest and ordered not to act alone ever again. Swiftly, the old man updates the village chat with the latest news. He reassures them by keeping in contact with Zhani. Safety returns while others praise his leadership. He brags that no awkward youth could surpass him, as Zhani retells events at home to his girls. Yanni commends the solution with Chun's group, praising its wisdom and savvy. When Joker asks if she fears them, Yami explains she only wishes to spare needless loss. If things went on like this, trouble might be brewing. Joke here is used to saying Yang Mai feels nervous. She holds Zhang Yi, calling him impressive and unbeatable. Yang Yi must not question or fear his own strength. Zhang Yi insists such people are useful and future foes may change into allies. With things resolved, Joke here says they should celebrate, heading off for drinks, while Jin Yi says he'll just have a little since he doesn't drink much. Meanwhile, Yami is in the kitchen making their meal. Jock brings back the drinks for everyone. Yang prepares food, but later both drift asleep, while Genie remains awake and fine. While the others nap, Genie quietly celebrates, feeling this is a great moment. Yang Mai awakens to his gentle kisses on her lips and neck. He whispers to him that this should not continue. Joke here might witness them. Jangi keeps going as Yang tries to stay silent. The following day, the otaku sends a note to the hero. Take a look at the otaku's image. Chun feels bored and says no mission has appeared for ages. He casually proposes a 5-member color team, but Genie wonders if joining this wild plan is wise. Flustered, he questions Chun about better ideas to pass his time. Chun admits he doesn't, adding he's now so restless he sends 200 messages daily. So Jangi starts brushing him off and answers without care. At the computer, Jangi sees Yangmi hard at work sparkling in the garden. Although calm, he worries hackers may get in again. This concern lingers while he reflects the two women are having a talk. Yangmi longs to help Zenzen in her wheelchair, but Joke here doubts Jangi would take any risk that doesn't pay off. Yemi plans to charm overly cautious Jangi using her greatest strength, her charm. Joker laughs, teasing that it's an excuse to attract her boyfriend. This isn't really for X and Zen. Joker chases after her, teasing her about secrets and asking if her cousin isn't embarrassed. Suddenly, Johnny appears, curious about the commotion. They claim it's family business, but he joins in, insisting there are no secrets between them. He wonders if they're concerned about their family. Joker shares that the snowstorm cut her off from her family, and she doesn't know if they're safe. Yami says her family contacted her, and the main character wonders if they want her there. She responds no, feeling hurt that she wasn't wanted by them. Yami clarifies someone who reached out is now in danger and needs their aid. They urge him to help save someone who's not related. Yami earnestly pleads, calling them her only family and begging for help. Joker concedes it's not his concern but admits he'd feel guilty if something happened to her, adding, your wife's family is yours. Genie confirms they're asking him to risk himself for another, reminding him many know he's got resources, making them targets. Departing would mean leaving their place vulnerable. He heads to leave the room, but the group begs him not to go. Joker promises he can ask for anything, whispering close that even she and Yami could be involved. Johnny decides to change his mind. He checks if they're sincere and embarrassed they agree. Yami sighs and remarks in this harsh snow, even wheelchair users could move with ease. Thinking of it saddens her, Jani asks if they mean Zenzen, known for her tech skills. Though just 18 and paralyzed, the girl is a technological prodigy. Jeannie declares, if she means much to you, she matters to me as well. Jaeok is surprised, seeing her boyfriend truly cares and listens to their concerns. Yami thanks him, softly admitting that they've underestimated his worth. He's a genuinely good man who values them, even if he seems aloof and withdrawn. Yami assures him she'd pay back the kindness, sidles up, and gently suggests this is just the beginning. The next day, once things calm, they revisit the topic, and he asks again about the wheelchair girl. Jo Kerr invites Yami to give her explanation. Zenzen is trapped within Tianqing Academy, regarded as the best college nearby. All the students have studied there since childhood, so the campus bursts with talent. Jinyi questions how a girl in a wheelchair lasted there so long, and Yangmi explains the college has a built-in marketplace so living needs are met. The main character asks why Yangmi heard from her now. Yangmi isn't certain, but she offers to try calling to find out more. But the number does not connect. Yangmi has dialed her several times, but with no success. Jo Kerr gently teases that Zai and Zion may not want their absent-minded sister's help. Jinyi asks just how far away it is. Maybe that's why calls won't go through. It's over 22 km away and the blizzard blocks distant connections. It's amazing they got through even once, yet John, for example, admits this may be likely. He advises they head to the control room and try the internet option. He remarks that this phone is one of the finest available. On the first attempt, the call connects, but the noise is terrible. They catch cries about danger. Johnny asks about the danger and only hears roaring and frantic warnings about monsters. From the receiver, animalistic sounds echo loudly. When the call ends, the protagonist realizes it's much more than a basic rescue. It was supposed to be a simple round trip, but true peril now awaits. Perhaps leaving it alone makes sense, but his determined companions push him not to retreat. He already had his moment to give up, but Jangi assures them he'll press on, relying on his team's strength. With Uncle Yu, the otaku, and their weapons, the risk might just be manageable. He raises the phone, declaring his intention to carry out a rescue operation. He invites others to come along, and the otaku, relieved to have purpose, gladly joins. While eating, Johnny considers overeating might make him sluggish, but powers require nutrients. Besides getting ready and choosing his best arms for this wild beast, he insists his wives stay protected underground. Young Mai wonders why, but Jaekir, familiar with him, tells her not to question practical matters. If those are his instructions, then simply follow them without hesitation. He'll handle this alone, making sure his wives stay secured behind the safest doors at home. Those doors can't be breached. Jo Kerr understands and offers him best wishes. Yangi requests her sister's return, and Johnny promises to bring both her and all the wheels. Heading out, he insists he can't afford mistakes, not with loved ones at risk, saying, I'm here. Jinyi wonders why Chun arrives early. Chun replies he didn't want to let Jangi down. Climbing into the car to escape the cold, Jinyi outlines their quest to save a distant student. When Chun asks if she's significant, the hero answers, yes, in a way. His real motive is not his wife's plea, but that the girl holds crucial computer skills. As they rush on, Janny tires of the otaku's tales of unspoken small-town affection. Should he help? Jangi diverts to the village's opinion on his alliances, and Chun's left uncertain. Things look bleak. He knows his people hate these dealings but keeps his feelings hidden. Soon, Uncle Yu joins, riding a snowmobile, excitement in his voice at seeing his nephew again. He proudly reveals how he and his wife sustain their well-being with shared exercise. Jangi introduces new faces with praise for their distinctive strengths. One boasts immense strength and rapid recovery. Another commands snow with finesse, mismatched in peacetime, now united to rescue someone. Uncle Yu inquires about what they're walking into. If all three awakened are needed, it's serious. Zhang Yi says monsters may await them on this rescue. Frightened, the stout one presses about their hazard, and Genie suspects mutant wildlife due to power shifts. He confesses honestly he's unsure about the exact nature of this beast. Maybe they're people transformed or monsters now looking human. Uncle Yu trusts Genie's gut, believing if it's possible in his eyes, it likely is in truth. Confidence grows as the trio joins forces and heads down an icy road to the old Tian Academy. Upon arrival, we soon get a glimpse of how survivors are faring at this academy. They find themselves imprisoned within the gym's walls. Some students press Zenzen, asking how she outlived so many when needing a wheelchair. They blame her for pulling others to their doom and label her a hindrance. They cry out about having to support someone disabled. Some want survival, others grieve. One calls out Zenzen for seeming untouched and questions the reason she's still alive. They argue the teacher shouldn't help, that she's a burden, and some suggest sacrificing her next. A bespectacled student agrees they've done enough, but another ends talk, saying the teacher helps all. She is their guardian until one comes forward to Zenzen, who sits apart. Girl icily says that if the teacher won't let her go, Zenzen should face doom alone. She claims no one should have to endure the burden of carrying her. Silent tears escape Zenzen. Classmates support the idea and shout she should go. Her closest friend steps up, declaring she's not involved in this conflict. She reminds them she alone supported her best friend while no one helped them. A rich girl claims her friend shouldn't speak up, calling her poor next to the wealthy students. Her friend asserts all have equal worth, but the privileged girl maintains inequality. She parades her wealth and power, adding Zenzen only matters for family connections. She declares Zenzen's standing gone now she's viewed as a liability to them. Sharply, the girl accuses Zenzen's defender of hoping for a reward after it's over. Stung, Zenzen weeps, yet one girl leaves the crowd and suggests friendship with her too. But this girl's motive is only potential future gains in the post-crisis world. Suddenly, an argument is cut short as a huge paw snatches someone away through the window. The beast's massive paw engulfs the person completely. A giant feline monster begins to clean its victim with its tongue. The entire prey disappears inside the creature's mouth. Panic bursts inside. As all flee in terror, Zenzen and her friend are left due to the chair. They find the door locked, so the cat shatters a window and leaps through, clutching its half-eaten prey. Devours the head of its meal and discards what remains. The cat leaps before the students, filling them with dread. Student shoves Zen forward, causing her to fall helplessly near the cat. Her friend, filled with fear, debates whether to intervene. Zen faces the looming beast, just as a distracted student attempts to slip out of the gym. The cat notices and mercilessly crushes its catch on the ground. They begin to crawl backward, begging for rescue. The cat redirects its attention toward all the remaining students. Suddenly, her friend races forward to offer assistance. Those at the back whisper the cat favors things that move. Zen appears inert and is ignored while someone shouts, "The cat's distracted. Everyone make for the exit now." A glance reveals the first injured student lying back, pleading for someone to return. Some declare that a few must remain so others may live. Fleeing, the wounded insists if it's up to him, death will come for all. The cat shifts attention to those bolting, crushing even more as it goes. Toys carelessly, its tail also harming some students while one yells out for aid. Fortune arrives when their teacher appears at the door, diverting the cat's gaze. The weapon in her hand radiates menace. The teacher launches an attack and the cat swiftly flees. Recognizing the peril, the cat grabs a fallen student and dashes away. Checking the exit, the teacher confirms its escape by following wide prints in the snow. Apparently, the beast found itself unable to defeat the teacher. Clearly, there's something unusual about her. If she remains, she'll stay safe, but stepping out for food means danger awaits outside. Among those harmed, the student who argued with Zen again questions why the girl in the wheelchair hasn't perished when disaster strikes, claiming she always endures. Puzzled, another boy intervenes, saying a teacher brought food and the cat has left. As he tries to share the meal with Zen, she declares, no, she isn't worthy. Zen coldly replies she's already dead. Just wait, while the weary teacher, worn from disputes and endless errands, remains silent. Rationalizing her exhaustion, she admits, if they're not endangering each other, I need not act. She thinks, let disputes be, rest is vital, and another girl, overwhelmed, cries that the world has ended and struggling is futile, nothing but doom awaits them all. Opposing her despair, a bold student insists he can save everyone, for his influential father holds sway. Confident that his father will come for them, the hero reaches the rescue site, joined by companions. Snow buries everything, leaving finding the academy's true location a daunting challenge. Attempts to call the girl fail in silence, forcing them to seek an alternate way to locate her. The hero mentions splitting may be quicker, but stick together. The monster targets lone souls, not groups. The girl has survived for 2 months, so waiting isn't hard. They return to the car, cruising until an exposed building offers possible entry. The digital map confirms they have arrived at the Academy's observatory and astronomy site. Ahead, the residence halls and dining area spread northward, marking campus boundaries. While not their destination, entering here lets them cross the campus through interior paths. Collapsed ice looms as a danger. Before warning can finish, Chun makes for the entrance and Uncle Yu shoves him forward. Fortunately, Chun's size prevents him from getting through the opening. Suddenly, Johnny catches sight of a shape moving close by in the snow. He draws his weapon, gun ready, recognizing the beast before him. It's a massive cat. With a human behind a firearm, the enormous beast merely stands its ground, drawing a remark from the hero who speculates on its intelligence. When Uncle Yu and the stout companion return, they engage the cat with hostility. Provoked, the large cat fiercely counterattacks, claws and fangs bared. With no other recourse, Zhani commits to the struggle, joining the fray. Channeling his fortifying power, Zhani leaps above the beast and fires at its head, landing nimbly behind it. Though hit, the beast persists, pressing forward as Uncle Yu shields his companion behind him. Energy coating his frame, he struck the cat decisively, shattering the sockets below. The blow sent the beast staggering, and Jin questioned whether it was a matured feline. He swapped to his accurate rifle and fired at the creature, targeting its visage. Enraged, the animal curled its body and charged forth like a ball of rushing fur. Genie, anxious, thought perhaps trapping the cat in his storage dimension would be wise. It seemed a possibility because of how swiftly the creature hurled itself forward. Sensing the threat, the cat suddenly veered aside and escaped, dashing for the snowy peak. The creature smashed loudly into the distance and disappeared without a trace. In no time, it sprang from a new gap, remained distant, and growled to stir all nearby. With mocking bravado, the cat turned its tail to them in scorn and retreated out of sight. Uncle and the portly one speculated if the beast was hurling an insult before leaving. They struggled to explain how the feline grew enormous and carved passages with such speed. The otaku observed that with this predator hunting close by, survivors seemed unlikely to remain. Yet Jin Yi remembered the cat was calm at first and didn't show obvious hostility. It was only after being attacked by Chun and Uncle Yu that the cat displayed aggression. Jin Yi felt the cat had mutated, now towering and clever, fully aware of its movements. They decided to brave the tunnel, hoping its course might reveal victims or nervous quarry nearby. Deep below, they encountered many sideways tunnels snaking into shadow. Some led to mysterious places, yet uncertainty about direction brought a risk of losing the way. To keep their route, Genie marked each turn using supplies from his personal dimension. Metallic scent in the air betrayed spilled blood, guiding them forward into the maze. Zhang Yi, joking, asked Chun if fear haunted him since they outnumbered the giant cat. He also seized his Desert Eagle, a trusty firearm from his dimensional armory. Veteran Uncle Yu appreciated the weapon, and his expertise made him a natural guide. Meanwhile, at the gym, the instructor kept cautious watch for the monster's return. She was drained as nights without rest clung to her like a heavy shroud. She kept diligent watch and scavenged food for her students, never pausing to rest. Despite her profound fatigue, the children complained the supplies had vanished again. They begged for her to venture out once more, and she questioned if it was worth it. If she stepped out, the beast may return and attack, but her students insisted she hurry with more rations. The teacher nearly snapped, yet held her composure amidst the growing tension. She agreed to make another trip, vowing to collect more food for them. Once she left, the gym's doors closed behind her, and solitude returned to the group. Outside, she declared that if she met the cat, she'd fight it until the end for both. Within the gym, Karen checked on Zenzen, who replied yes, grateful for her support. A wealthy student arrogantly accused her of yet again being a hindrance to everyone. She scornfully asked if Zenzen was never weary of being helpless and unhelpful. Karen firmly told the arrogant girl she should apologize to Zenzen for pushing her during the cat attack. Before conflict erupted, the cat's silhouette appeared once more at the gym's window. A massive paw crashed inside, and in an instant another person's life was obliterated. The self-proclaimed hero shoved another forward, using them as bait to save himself. As chaos overwhelmed them, the teacher rushed back to strike the cat's head rather than its hindquarters. Wounded, the beast engaged the teacher in fierce combat in front of the terrified students. Amid the battle's commotion, she saw three figures entering through the path the beast had used to escape. Jangi and his two friends emerged into the scene and stood witness to the chaos within. Spotting them, the teacher, spirited anew, beseeched for aid while Chun prepared to strike, but Johnny held him back. He observed her remarkable skill in battling the cat with a single blade, suspecting she might possess unique gifts, uncertain of her intent, so he allowed the contest to unfold. Jeannie resolved they wouldn't fight and instead led the way through a different path toward the gym. Uncle Yu, ever watchful, cautioned that the woman's power made her best avoided. They vanished into the tunnel as the teacher, stunned by their departure, pleaded that together they could triumph. Yet her words were dismissed. They follow another tunnel to the gym entrance. Janny sees red-haired Shinshin in her wheelchair. Relieved she's unharmed, Janny is stopped by a boy who asks if he knows his father at the Western Mountain base. Janny, confused, questions, "What Western Mountain?" The boy introduces himself as Xing Yu, a class leader from a noble family, expecting Jan's recognition. Jinyi nods, asks about the Western Mountain base and wonders aloud about other bases, implying their origin. It's odd given their base is nearer. Realizing several bases may be close, Jinyi asks about others but learns only of shelters his dad mentioned. Jangi dismisses the boy and heads toward Zenzen while students express keen interest, greeting Uncle Yu and Niyataku. One wonders what they'd ask Uncle Yu. Meanwhile, Johnny reaches the wheelchair girl and checks she is Zenzen. Introducing himself, Johnny says he knows her sister Yangmi and was sent by her to save her. Zenzen agrees to come, but before letting Johnny manage her chair, she requests a favor. He wants his help in halting the ongoing fight. Johnny, thinking this puts her in his debt, gladly plans to intervene. He calls for Chun and his uncle to assist him. On the way, Johnny collects some cat-shaped claws, archiving them in his space vault. Chun unleashes his strength to drop the ceiling, dividing the teacher from the feline. Their plan succeeds, yet the instructor is furious. She hadn't wanted the battle ended but support defeating the animal. Jangi responds with irony. The angry teacher brandishes her sword, insisting she nearly caught the beast before they interfered. Jangi states he meant to help, not harm, obeying a student's wish, but the teacher lashes out at him. He leaps away, fires a desert eagle. However, the teacher slices aside his bullet. He's clearly much stronger than he assumed. As she prepares her attack, Jangi uses his power, pulling her into his spatial dimension. Afterward, he sternly advises people to avoid the dimension because of its dangers. He ejects her, winded from holding her. Mockingly, he calls her bold and dangerous for attacking him. Johnny claims her blade, convinced that anything slicing bullets must be precious. I'm not parting with my sword, she insists. He directs a pupil to ensure their exhausted teacher can rest comfortably. Jeannie then declares he's been sent to fetch the girl in the wheelchair as arranged. The teacher asks for all students' rescue, but some nearby declare they're rich and will pay him to safely escort everyone. Jang Yi replies he can't guard so many, since wealthy families will send help anyway. Frustrated, a student grabs Zenzen, threatening her life if the group isn't rescued, saying, "Take us or Zenzen dies." Terrified, the teacher protests, "Don't be fools, your classmates not enemies. Why bicker with such danger lurking outside?" Ignoring the pleas, the protagonist draws both police pistols, losing patience, and shoots the kids threatening Zenzen. The teacher recoils in horror, reminding herself these are just young students. With a steady voice, Jin Yi remarks, hostage takers, young or not, must accept consequences. He finds himself only surprised that Zai and Zen remain unfazed by the violence. He gently checks Zenzen's state and wonders if she's ready to leave for home. She nods but says she'll only go if her friend Karen can join them. Jin Yu silently doubts if he should burden himself with another companion. He stays quiet, but Zenzen catches his doubt and claims Karen could prove helpful. Zenzen explains Karen is sharp. Unlike the rich yet inept crowd, she's a true scholarship talent. Karen masters technology and repairs, essential for crafting and engineering, and she confirms her expertise with pride. Johnny, convinced at last, tells her to join their group as well. Eagerly, Karen offers to push her friend along on their way out. Several students press their case, boasting skills in driving, investments, and leadership. The girl who once befriended Zenzen insists all are doomed if the beast reappears. She also argues that had Jang Yi not stymied the teacher, the monster might have been stopped, hence they owe the class protection. This reasoning seems valid, but the main character pays it no mind and leaves, prepared for more blood if needed. As Zen departs, she thanks Teacher Lin for kindness while the protagonist moves forward. The teacher orders everyone to follow Jin Yi's group, as Chun questions what the purpose is. The main character says he could handle all alone. His power could even destroy the tunnel. The anxious otaku claims he wouldn't use that power, then the protagonist retrieves his vehicles openly. Uncle Yu and Chun take the motorcycle while he brings the girl to the car for their ride. With three aboard, Jang Yi speeds away, leaving the other students in the dust. Afterwards, the students turn to the teacher, unsure of what they should do next. The looming giant cat is a threat outside, but then the wealthy youth gets a phone signal. After regaining signal, he can call his dad as Jang Yi, Zenzen, and Karen travel in comfort. Inside the warm car, he hands out water and food so everyone can recover their energy. Gratefully accepting, the girls call their brother amazing. Jang Yi credits X and Zen instead. Baffled by the praise, Zenzen asks the reason for such compliments. Feeling like a burden, she questions how she could be remarkable when they just met. If Karen hadn't saved her, she'd be gone, but the hero says surviving in a wheelchair takes more than luck. They remain safe thanks to Zenzen's secret, and a puzzled Karen presses for an explanation. Then Zen acknowledges that Jin Yi is sharp for unraveling her secret so easily. The protagonist had observed numerous coincidences tied especially to the girl's encounters with monsters. Intrigued by Jean's insight, Zenzen listens as he mentions her plea to stop the teacher and Cat's fight. She seemed intent on protecting both the monster and the teacher together. Why shield the monster? The sweet girl concedes Jin Yi's intuition, though insists she's not devious. She never commanded Blossom to attack. She once cared for a stray cat before everything changed. That's right, because Zenzen always cared for Blossom. The cat knows and feels familiar to them. Now Karen understands their luck, while Jin Yi wonders if it's due to gratitude or something more. Though the beast attacked others, it acted peaceful toward the protagonist upon their meeting. The cat appeared intelligent, and Zenzen again remarks in awe at Jang Yi's discernment. She confesses she warned the cat not to harm outsiders, knowing they might help her if needed. Johnny repeats his question, wondering if she told the cat to attack those who wronged her. He firmly replies she never wished for anything of the sort. The cat just hunted for food because that was all there was, and the odd girl wonders if she is unkind to think this way. Sneakily, the lead thinks her outlook is just fine. He He agrees wholeheartedly, unbothered by the fate of the students. Only people like Zhani and Karen are important. In this world, value means survival. The red-haired girl knows Jangi values her, and that's why she chose to defend her. Now he realizes Karen is also valuable. The lead asks why Zenzen spoke only to her sister. Turning a corner, she reveals it wasn't for her. Her real focus was on Jangi, so she deliberately contacted Yangmi. This puzzles him. How can her target be someone unknown? "I'm the greatest hacker you'll meet," she boasts. She says that long before disaster struck, the Walmart heist piqued her interest and she tracked everyone involved. When the endless cold began, she suspected the supervisor and later, leaked data backed her suspicion. With one phone and her sister's help, she plotted everything, knowing all of Johnny's actions before and since. Now she admits she is completely aware of the entire building extermination. Accessing every security feed he set up was simple. His fortress instincts made her monitor him thoroughly. This disclosure unsettles both the lead and me. She watched after that heist and had backup plans but is glad he came easily. Jangi thinks this girl is a threat, so caution is needed. Oddly, Blossom the cat trails their car all the way. He ponders that taming the cat might grant him greater power. Meanwhile, the girls observe Blossom from the window until, after a long drive, the refuge comes into view. Their Chun and his uncle appear unexpectedly. He recompenses the two and says they're free to leave for home. Then he chooses to head back within the shelter. The gentle warmth inside brings calm and comfort to the girls. Genie agrees to assist if they follow his guidance, while Zai and Zient shyly ask if he needs more assistance. He is startled by their offer, making him fall silent in surprise. Karen misses the subtle message in Zient's inquiry. Johnny responds saying she's not old enough for that yet. Her mission is hacking, with everyone's safety in their care. Though he finds Zen attractive, he already enjoys time with Joker and Yang Mai. The young Stows wonder if his lack of interest in Zai and Zen is due to her immobility. Before further conversation, Joker appears quickly and Yang Mi comes, worried about her sibling. Zen calms her and shares she contacted them for Jang Yi. He has romantic interest in him. As the sisters vie for him, he delights in watching both a famed beauty and a genius. JK wonders why they're so different and gets curious about Zen's link with Jangi. She introduces Karen, her closest friend from a special school who's now a skilled mechanic. Yangmi thinks Karen is simply charming. The household head asks Yangmi to make dinner and set rooms up for new arrivals. After hardship at university, the girls have their first big meal. Jing Yi invites Karen to assist at home. He first misinterprets but goes along willingly. He inquires about her ability to fabricate weaponry and ammunition. Karen explains she needs certain equipment and resources but can craft them if supplied. Pleased by her response, Jangi invites her to go along with him. He unveils an array of costly machines for her to view. She names her requirements and he's ready to obtain whatever else is necessary. With only materials needed, Genie suggests helping, but Karen insists she can organize alone. He wonders which types of weaponry Karen can produce. He displays the teacher's sword from his special store, asking if she can replicate it. Karen admires its craftsmanship and is honored to hold it, but she insists it's extraordinary. It's a time-worn treasure and a true work of art, impossible for her to copy again. This blade can slice through diamonds. She returns it, explaining Miss Leon earned it protecting someone important long ago. He cherishes it more dearly than her own existence. These stories spark fresh inspiration in the hero, and together they return to finish the meal. They discuss possibilities for activities that Karen can take part in at home. Afterward, they gather together and watch television. The news reports the cold disaster's duration is unknown, its devastation vast, society in chaos with much of humanity gone as lawlessness prevails. Might replaces law as armed bands seize power and control territories, and envy stirs within Shinshin at witnessing Jangi surrounded by friends, wishing to join them as well. Yang Mai questions Jangi, who admits it's true and foresees soldiers turning against him. The struggle to secure valuable resources will only become harsher ahead. Shinshin agrees, warning of looming wars over territory and supplies, and soon this place will also be threatened. Jangi leads her to the powerful computer. With full access and global network, she promises to accomplish great feats. She adapts swiftly, her fingers flying over the keyboard as she masters the system like an expert. When her assessment ends, Jangi invites her to share her conclusions. A decade prior, the security was among the best available anywhere. Though still decent, its protection is now somewhat outdated. What used to be impregnable now can be infiltrated. She cites recent successful hacks. She estimates within a month intruders could have taken over house security altogether. Johnny feels justified in calling for her help, then asks if she's able to reinforce the system. She assures him and announces all vulnerabilities are eliminated within moments. Johnny commends her skills with genuine admiration. Proudly, she proclaims it's now time for counterattacks against any intruders seeking entry. He hesitates, questioning the potential danger of such moves. She reassures him, explaining only novices get caught and she's certainly not one. Jangi's amazement is cut short when Joy walks in with urgent news. Creature stands at the door, its presence impossible to ignore. It's the immense cat, star of the spectacle and impossible to overlook. Knowing what's there, he asks Zai and Zen for advice. The feline deeply likes her and cares for her safety. Zhani makes the call that the beast must be befriended. He leaves the security room with Zenzen in tow. The main character reassures the girls as Zenzen peers out the window to see the cat. Since the cat is gentle outside, he gathers X and Zen, saying they're heading out to feed it. As they near, the big cat remains gentle and stays put. But when Jangi approaches too closely, he receives a warning glare. He bargains, offering special food and promising treats if the cat behaves kindly. The cat seems to ponder, then politely declines the offer. Zai and Zen remind him that it is a stray feline. Strays are always cautious, trust must be earned another way. Afterward, he gently offers food, warning the cat not to harm villagers, and the intelligent feline seems to understand. It agrees to eat and leaves those living by the frozen lake in peace from now on. Following the bargain, he, Zai, and Zen return indoors where Joe mentions something wonderful took place. Magically, the cat decreased in stature before their eyes. This shows it controls its size, explaining how it managed to eat a few students at the school. It shrank to dine, and Zen Zion adds, that's also how the cat always vanished, slipping past even the teacher's watchful gaze. It also allowed it to approach without being detected. Jean I notices the cat's injuries, but it is unconcerned. He still plans to treat its wounds, hoping to earn trust, while night brings rest for the girls. Karen remarks it all feels wonderfully unreal. They started the day freezing and hungry at school, but now they're warm and content inside. Zenzen, a bit hesitant, attributes their fortune to Jangi's cleverness, saying it feels safest with him near. She insists more weapons are needed, and suggests further fortifying the shelter. As night drifts by in conversation about their home, morning finds Karen excitedly sharing ideas, assuring him she can handle anything. Inside the mansion, joy and fun reign, while those at college are simply left behind. Only the wealthiest student contacted his father, the rest failed to reach anyone. Their families most likely didn't survive. Thankfully, the monstrous cat was nowhere to be seen, and after his plea, the boy's father came to the rescue hours later. Upon hearing a commotion, they hurried outside to meet a group arriving in a wolf-drawn cart. The teacher noticed the group wore advanced military attire for frigid climates. The boy wondered if his father's influence brought help. When his father revealed himself from among the soldiers, thinner and older, it stunned the boy. He embraced his dad, asking about the delay, but before an answer came, the soldiers inquired about stockpiled supplies at school. The teacher found their concern for resources odd as the boy revealed the frozen market's abundance and the lurking giant creature. The soldier replied, "Don't worry, we'll deal with any beast, show us the way." Unbothered, the boy quickly volunteered the teacher as a guide since he knew nothing of the way. Predicting this, the teacher agreed to show them to the supplies. The soldiers fetched the supplies, returning to gather the students as helpers. Obediently, the group toiled together and carried in all the boxes of supplies from the market. The wealthiest student boasted about his father's rescue, but the soldiers soon departed after securing the goods. Upset, the students questioned how they'd reach the base. The soldiers simply answered they'd have to run, lamenting the absence of transport. Fellow student noted the journey stretched over 10 kilometers to the destination. Soldier threatened anyone who complained again would face desertion charges. Forced to stay silent, they followed whomever they could keep pace with. Handing out chocolates to fatigued students, the teacher led them under nightfall to the mountain's base and the waiting fortress. Instructions were given, sending them inside and down the steps at once. They found a vast high-tech space, lovely in its emptiness. The teacher tried to steady the group before soldiers in sealed suits entered and released gas. Soon after, a somewhat covetous woman came forward, requesting their cooperation. Disinfection, blood draws, and samples were to prevent disease, so everyone queued up in turn. Once the wait ended, they each received a serving of pale white yogurt. Describing it as delicious, they sat together and enjoyed their treat. "You want to taste this yogurt too?" After a pause, the woman swiftly asked which boy was his. The anxious father indicated his son. She instructed her staff to guide them and said the son must go somewhere else. Before departing, the boy declared to fellow students he was unlike everyone else. He insisted his father made him important and, as he left, received a warning to obey the rules. Don't do anything against them. The woman led the boy away as the remaining students murmured about the unfairness. They accused him of being favored, but at last they arrived where the woman intended. The large woman instructed him to bathe. Willing, he agreed, having not done so in months. After drying off, the boy looked around in surprise. The grasping woman immediately readied herself for business. She took his hand and swiftly tossed him onto a nearby bed. Meanwhile, the scene shifted to the remaining students, who were led elsewhere for uniforms. The woman, escorted by soldiers, announced their destination would be where they'd work. Soon, they reached a room filled with odd bicycles, giant gears, and people riding intensely. This is the workplace assigned to you for these rough days. Their daily effort here would grant them warm food and shelter, every bit of energy powered the base. Refusal to work meant meals were withheld. Shocked, the students wondered how people of their standing had ended up there. Panicked, they desperately pleaded with the teacher to rescue them from this fate. They didn't deserve this, but the leader says tears can fall while they keep working. The teacher supports this, reassuring them not to worry or be fearful. Here at least they are promised both protection and something to eat. For now, everyone must follow instructions and work dutifully, just as she does. Meanwhile, the privileged boy sits in his room, completely devastated. After working, his father waited for him, asking if all went well. He was reassured it had. The boy truly follows his father's path, hardworking, since his father's duty is to satisfy the stern woman. This makes the father frail and thin. Exhausted, she departs, hoping dedication continues for the future of the base. The boy lies down, stunned, while his father asks if he's hurt. Tearful, he wonders why his father hid the truth about surviving this way. What became of his former job? It is complicated, his father replied. Everything shifted during the crisis. After the snowstorm, people with extraordinary abilities emerged, altering the existing power order. People with powers surpassed others, while those with weak political roles lost ground. To ensure their safety, he had to toil with that woman, and now his son must do the same. After intense pedaling, all feel fatigue in their legs when back in the dorm. They wanted to know from the teacher if this grueling work was a daily expectation. Yes, for the moment, came the teacher's reply. The teacher advised them not to grumble about what's only their job to do. This is normal life for most, but they are elites. Shouldn't people this important escape hard labor? Why undergo hardship? They urge their teacher to find a way to free them from work. And the most powerful boy enters, clearly burdened by serious trouble. Would he change things since he's influential? He confessed the situation isn't as he believed. Obedience is now demanded. Each person's duties here deserve appreciation. When asked about his return to old routines, he replied that instead he's learning about the compound. Understanding the new order, he addressed everyone, urging them to depend on themselves now. He describes the rules, and the teacher sees her title means little here, yet as a mutant fighter her skills matter. The teacher requested that he describe the base's current circumstances. He replied, explaining that Qin Jing, empowered by the Awakened, now leads the area. He commands all aspects. Those closest to him stay in Layer 1, enjoying comfort. Technicians and scientists reside well on the second. In total, there are 4 layers. The third level is for mutants with gifts who thrive, while the fourth houses workers living in misery to fuel the base. The frightened youth swears he has no intention of starting a revolt. Those on the third level act as guards, and no dissent is allowed. Any rebellion would be crushed. One man violently seizes another, accusing him of false promises and blaming him for their troubles. He retorts, saying they could have faced college and peril or gone hungry. Only Leon gives them any chance now. They beseech their teacher, believing she's the only one who can help. They feel they can't endure hardship forever and want something easier, but the woman admits she's weary and must rest before tomorrow's work. Morning arrives and everyone lines up to start their daily duties. The supervisor announces that today is dedicated to showing gratitude for Shining, their protector. At times, the entire base assembles to thank the savior credited for their safety. Though everyone else conforms, the teacher alone recognizes the hidden reality. The supervisor praises the supreme leader over the speakers, and the teacher recognizes manipulation. All are called to share their name, interests, and offer thanks for inclusion in this community. During the morning meal of porridge, the teacher observes her students grow a bit more cheerful as they mingle. Just then, the boss's secretary arrives, asking over the PA if Ling is present. If she is, she's to come with them. Ling greets her and complies without hesitation. Though the students hope this will change things, the secretary's look tells them to step back. With measured courtesy, the secretary escorts the teacher through the base to the leader's office. The leader greets her with respect, invites her to sit, and reveals his vision for the base's future. He graciously listens to his words. The secretary will show her new living quarters on level 2, and she joins the ranks thanks to her awakened talent. Meanwhile, Jai's accommodations remain the grandest of all. Having fed the Blossom Cat the finest meals, the character finally earns her elusive trust. The cat watches Zai and, trusting him, gambles on his goodwill, ignoring him as she slips inside. The cat claims the space, ripping up the luxury sofa, and the protagonist tolerates it quietly. Joker jokes, glad the kitty's not a woman, she'd outshine even the lead role. Once done with her antics, the kitten makes a nest in the armchair and drifts into sleep. Tempting to pet her, he faces her defiance, yet, in time, he wins her over. Through persistence, he gains trust, and now Yalmi even enjoys bathing with the tamed cat. Joker jokes about the cat as the girls and group embrace their new furry house guest. Life settles smoothly. Zenzen skillfully adapts to house tech with her sharp hacking talent. Her tech expertise reveals the security leak's source, tracking locations unnoticed by those involved. The cyber threat seems to come from where Zai Qian's mentor is based. When they strike, the protagonist vows with confidence to vanquish any foes that may come. He checks in with Karen regarding updates on their fortifications and defenses. Karen informs him she's crafted a silencer for his use. His once loud rifle grows silent, now even more deadly thanks to her expertise and skill. She insists it's a modest favor, she'll grant any reasonable request he might make. Seated beside her, he gently asks if she's able to craft both grenades and explosive devices. There's a moment's uncertainty, whether it's discomfort or shyness he can't tell. She eyes him skeptically, saying he underrates her. What seemed hard is quite easy. To him, the fact that she manages this is nothing short of extraordinary. She tells him such skills have existed since the days of medieval history. Being a true expert, she can assemble one expertly even with her eyes closed. Zhani worries enemy mutants could attack, but he's sure their group is more than prepared. He believes he'll shield them, sharing he's felt an unusual bond with her from the outset. She calls him into question, yet he insists he only feels protective like an older sibling would. Her heart aches at his words, realizing she can't be more for him. Zhani gently promises safety while she is in his service. Renewed, she promises obedience and assures him she'll carry out anything he asks. Zhani departs, revealing his aim is to inspire her utmost devotion and win his approval through her dedication. He presses her to transfer weapons urgently for the sake of fighting his newest foes. He quickly reaches out to Chun and Uncle Yu. He talks of a threatening fortress whose soldiers are now fanning out from their base. They are cautioned not to expose their gifts. Both Uncle Yu and the otaku solemnly promise vigilance. As he warns them, Zhani tells the otaku they're the most exposed, positioned between enemy and home. The hero cautions, if Chun is in danger, he should come to the mansion right away. Someone as gifted as Chun should never be abandoned in peril. Chun, meanwhile, believes his rural people will not be harmed. He cannot grasp why any group would take an interest in small farming folk. At the West Mountain outpost, two depart, set on finding the protagonist's hideout near Chun's village. A man and a young woman prepare to head out, as he wonders whether the blizzard will let up. She doubts it, likening the cold to divine retribution. They speed off on their sled toward Zhang Yi's camp. Past the iced-over river stands the condominium where our protagonist is based. They turn away from that destination, continuing until they can cross safely. Soon they find themselves facing Chun's humble village. They marvel at the towering frozen palace looming behind modest cottages. They make their presence known at the gates, drawing curious villagers out to meet them. Caution abounds these days, yet the woman notes their preparedness for this severe cold. Questioned, she claims to be a government envoy on a sanctioned mission. Once he verifies her identity, the elder welcomes them into the community. He asks his villagers to treat the newcomers well and introduces key village locations. One villager, uneasy, wonders aloud about extending such a welcome to strangers. Their desires are obvious. The elder wonders aloud about what truly matters most now. Their main asset isn't sustenance. It's about wielding town influence. He sways them that feeding soldiers for an alliance is a bargain. The chief greets the guests with the promise of a feast. The girl marvels at how skillfully they endure the blizzard, with ample food and warmth. He boasts it's his doing, the snow fort he arranged and all their vital resources managed. This earns the soldiers' respect. A follower silently doubts him. He just became leader and everything he brags about isn't his achievement. She keeps pressing their chief for answers, eager to learn about their food methods. The old man reveals their village supplied 30% of the city's vegetables before the snow came. Though they kept harvests going, he becomes cautious, realizing revealing much could risk them all. He quickly backtracks, saying things aren't as good as claimed, output is dropping. He justifies the grand banquet by their vast stores, turning the talk to the ice palace that boosts his value to the state. He calls for more food and their bounty confirms the woman's hunch. He guards valuable secrets. The chief inquires if the authorities know how or when the harsh storm will vanish. She whispers what comes next is classified, yet since she's pleased, she warns the end is in sight due to the state's grand plan. Her words spark hope while she assures everyone all is progressing as planned. He then questions if they've seen suspicious behavior among the locals. The old man grows cautious now. Feigning ignorance, he hears he may turn in mutants for favor, helping national renaissance. To protect Chun, he says nothing, asks for her contact, vowing direct updates if news arises. She changes tone and accuses him of hiding matters from authorities. Frightened, he pleads ignorance, but she'll not accept this, staying certain he keeps something hidden. She declares that screening vital information is a grave wrongdoing. Under pressure, he softens his response and steps closer, claiming they barely know this person. She pries further and he reveals a name. Zhang, a mansion dweller across the river, piquing her interest. This is the one their group sent them to observe. She requests every detail someone knows of him. They see a perfect occasion to collect further information about their subject. The villagers speak of the main character as something monstrous and frightening. Seeking his food, they lost many. Half the homes fell when his house across the lake was attacked. The aged leader adds confirmation and the other's fury persuades the woman it's all real. Indeed, Zhani is sought after as the mutant, yet no one lives who's seen his face or gifts. In the end, the woman departs with nothing useful useful, she instructs the old man to update her should news arise. First, upon leaving, she tells headquarters about a resourceful and plentiful settlement. The man inquires about her dishonesty. She explains it made those people treat them well as guests. If she hadn't lied, their reception and intelligence would have been lacking. He warns honesty's price might be anger, but she brushes it off as they glimpse the mansion. The soldier remarks that only someone exceptional keeps such a vast place running well. She suspects the mansion's owner pulled off the warehouse theft, as the broadcasts claimed. They soon prepare. The man's unusual skill allows massive leaps. With her in his arms, he jumps in, landing inside their rivals' walls. Inside awaits a residence of true opulence and comfort at the highest tier. No barriers are beyond her reach. She's adept at breaching any space. Her companion voices concern for her lone entry's safety. He wonders aloud if calling extra support would be smarter. She refuses to delay any longer, choosing to investigate herself without pause. To her, he merely possesses powers like an ordinary man. Unseen by others, she slips silently through the walls and steps into the house. Everything is glowing and heated richly. Uneasiness seizes her in that moment. The resident's comforts surpass her own bases. Could Zhang Yi outmatch even the military? He heads off to gather backup, but marks danger with his knife before retreating. She remarks this place feels off, they must bring support. She notes their foe here has skills one step ahead. Not even mountain base experts could enjoy a house so secure and pleasant. He likely possesses many gifts and hidden strengths. Her talent offers little help in combat. She warns if discovered it's certain doom, then leaps up and departs with him. As they stealthily explore his quarters, the cat becomes alert and awakens. Armed and ready, he checks his phone for updates. No alarms trigger, yet he lets the persistent cat out, who sniffs out a lost knife. Suspecting an outside origin, he goes over the surveillance videos. Someone gained entry through an extraordinary skill. Anger flares that anyone dared breach his refuge. He resolves such a threat cannot be allowed to exist. He informs the cat that they are hunting down those responsible. Wearing his Kevlar and checking footage, he notes the intruders have only recently escaped. The two operatives ride off by Snowmobile, heading to their base with crucial news. She says her secret news can't be spread, but, feeling cheerful, shares it anyway. Zhani is accused of the Walmart heist, but nobody solves how one man did it. He thinks he stores things and retrieves them through a hidden dimension power. Such a gift explains it all. To have an unseen ability like this defies reality. With confirmation, it's likely the greatest power in their world. She's thrilled for a reward and eager to inform their leader. Her excitement vanishes as she falls from a silent bullet shot through her head. Jing Yi's aim is perfect. Her startled ally reveals where the shot came from, but he disappears. Another gunshot echoes as he flees fast, taking her body with him. Displeased by failure, he collects himself, knowing he will resolve this. He dismounts and declares they must eliminate both enemies no matter the cost. He commands the cat forward as the hidden soldier desperately tries to identify his foe. Suddenly, a massive furball hurtles toward him at great speed. He shields his comrade and barely evades the oncoming attack. The devastation left behind reveals this beast's terrifying strength. Missing her mark, the cat swiftly lunges back with unsheathed claws. The soldier conjures a weapon, and mid-battle, Zhang Yi shoots and leaps skyward. While flying, he realizes there's no way to escape the next gunfire. After dodging the cat, the soldier struggles to evade another threatening attack. Having avoided the rifle shot, he can't escape the Blossom Cat's latest onslaught. The cat's jaws close on his arm, leaving him tightly held. Genie uses this moment to skillfully land a strike on his head. Both fall gently into the snow, and the Blossom Cat appears ready to speak. In confusion, Johnny notices golden light radiating from the girl's form. Piqued by the glow, he steps closer, suspecting it reveals a hidden gift. When he touches her, this energy seeps into him. He senses their powers uniting. Elated, he kisses the Blossom Cat, lifts the body to inspect it, then stores it safely undisturbed. Later at their home, Shinshin announces she's finished his request. From the two fallen soldiers' gear, she learns they serve the Shishi refuge deep in the mountains, 27 km away. That stronghold runs beneath the mountain in 4 levels, home to armed and giffened residents. This news reignites Zhang Yu's admiration for Xin. Meanwhile, Zucker rushes up with new intelligence. Inside the lab, she explains the girl's brain cells look unlike those of an ordinary person. Brains of powered humans consistently show altered cell structures. Such changes might grant their abilities, though the man had leg mutations instead of brain changes. Zucker suspects artificial causes shaped his mutated muscle tissues. As these truths come to light, Zhang Yi goes underground to explore his enhanced skills. He now can empower his projectiles, expecting it to resemble the girl from Charlotte who takes abilities. However, he never uses the phasing skill gained from the woman who could move through walls. At the base, agents at Jing Yi's mansion send an urgent distress signal. The squad leader asks for backup, but his request unfortunately gets rejected. He realizes only the head of the base can allow him to get help. The secretary blocks him at the door, claiming the leader is occupied with critical business. The mutant officer pleads it's urgent, but the secretary insists the leader's moment is also pressing. Meanwhile, the leader's important important task is entertaining young girls from the prestigious academy. The young guests flatter and celebrate his virtues. All actions are meant to win favor with this figure of authority. Once their private meeting ends, they dress and head back to their rooms. Only then does the leader inquire about the soldier's urgent issue. The commander notes maximum support is needed for operatives involved in the famous Walmart case. The leader, finding the issue minor, only grants permission for lesser backup. At last, permission for the lower-tier team is given, and as annoyed captain sends them out, a teacher notices her charges near the entrance. Puzzled, she inquires how the girls managed to reach this location. The playful students act surprised, teasing that she must hold importance to be here. They boast of their talents and time with leader chining, while the teacher shares her dismay. They acknowledge it isn't admirable but say staying here isn't safe anymore. After conflict, they must return swiftly to their new rooms on layer 2. Before leaving, the teacher wonders why she hasn't seen the other children. They explain during her absence many were lost and possibly gone for good. Everything was for survival, confides one in tears. The teacher is left staggered and unsettled by this revelation. Did something sinister happen here? Back on the 4th layer, she finds her student sharing company with the head overseer. He inquires if she wants to discover where the missing girls actually end up. He leads her to a certain place, revealing scientists burdened with mysterious bags. He claims these are those who could not endure the hidden experiments performed there. His own college friends have vanished too, and his father told him to never ask questions. He only urges obedience. The teacher says, "From this point on, I'll take care of it." She stealthily incapacitates a scientist, steals his suit, evades notice, and sneaks to the destination of the bodies. He seeks proof for her student and listens as scientists discuss their latest unsuccessful trials. The creation failed again, and only when it's unveiled does she realize the truth firsthand. Those from the 4th layer are drained for energy, forced into trials, and discarded cruelly. With an incinerator, they destroy bodies or transform them into a chalky white paste with a machine. Not sure what the paste is, she overhears lab staff arguing about flavoring the next meal. Scientists praise its taste, unaware of its origin, so they enjoy eating it guilt-free. Sickened, she hides in the bathroom to recover. She grasps that the nourishing food she's eaten likely once belonged to others, maybe her own students. She changes her belief that enduring life here was a better option. It's clear this place is cruel, a real hell for the powerless down on the 4th layer. Ling resolves to gather her students and escape, wondering where safety truly lies. She wonders if they will survive the outdoor frost and hunger, doubting her ability to save them. That night, reinforcements arrive at Jangi's home. One triggers a booby trap, his remains flying into the snow. The furious captain blames the fortress dweller for the grisly defense. The protagonist, alerted by violence and gunfire, realizes they're being attacked. He instructs Karen to raise the power grids and place the fortress on full defense. With unmatched strength and the smartest minds serving him, his team stands ready. Zhani surveys the scene from his window, satisfied that new adversaries have come. The troops, searching for traps just as those from Chun's village once did, meet the same grim end. Zhani uses remote bombs, sending even more soldiers to join their fallen in the hereafter. The captain's rage swells with each loss on the snow-swept battlefield. The troops admit they have no knowledge about who they are facing. Many have died in the traps already, pushing them to suggest they need reinforcements. Such words spell trouble for the captain as they are the reinforcements, yet he orders them onward, danger or no. He pushes the advance to avoid failure, all while Yanmi quietly worries about going ahead. But they have discovered a weakness in the security. Zhani reassures with confidence, claiming daily checks and faith in Karen and Zenzen's efforts. With no gap in security, Yanmi then asks why Zhani waits, but the main character is simply curious how the soldiers will act. They conclude the hideout is built to withstand humans, suspecting that its creator foresaw turmoil. The captain decides to blast a breach in the building's defenses. A soldier slips inside to plant bombs while Genie watches, thinking it's time the attackers learn a hard lesson. The man escapes before detonation, but the blast barely damages the house, only melting snow. They find the strong shelter walls remain flawless after the explosion. With no way through above, they choose to dig beneath instead. Their plan changes to killing Genie, so the sniper is called as the protagonist observes from the window. The sniper's shot misses, the glass undisturbed due to its strange resilience. Genie thinks little of the mutant soldiers transferred from the military base. Spotting his indifference, a man shouts complaints about others having better gear than the state. The captain concedes defeat, ordering all to withdraw. As retreat begins, Johnny opens fire at their backs. The shaken soldiers turn and return fire at Johnny. Johnny's actions aren't reckless. He redirects the bullets into another realm, sending them back at his foes. The captain insists they keep firing. Sensing opportunity, the entire group unleashes their gunfire at once. Genie catches the bullets with one hand and returns fire confidently with the other. He's an elusive figure, taking out troops even while left completely visible to his foes. The captain urges everyone to abandon the fight and make a swift escape. This mutant remains enigmatic. They use their powers to flee, but one is struck in the leg and lags behind. The others take cover with snow and advise the injured companion to stay hidden and not try to follow. A smoke grenade is tossed, blocking Zhani's line of sight and protecting the others as they retreat. Zhani, having absorbed avalanche snow, releases it over soldiers lost in the smoke. Almost all of them have now perished. Later at the underground base, reinforcements tell the leader about a fierce enemy and devastating losses. Now the leader, once dismissive of Zhani, pays attention. His secretary reveals Zhang Yi resides in a fortress built a decade ago by Tycoon Wang Simon. Channeling Sherlock Holmes, the leader deduces that Zhang Yi, a former stock supervisor, now lives alone with better resources than the mountain base. After 2 soldiers escaped with crucial intel, Zhang Yi pursued and eliminated them both. Clearly guarding a major secret, the leader believes Zhani possesses resources like Walmart, is nearly an endless supply of food and may have storage-related powers. He likely holds more assets than what the vanished warehouse contained. With that, the leader shifts all military objectives towards seizing these resources. The secretary explains food is almost gone at the base, but Zhang Yi's stores could feed them for 10 years. Hundreds of troops set out. At Chun's village, the otaku calls Zhang Yi to warn him of the approaching army. Before the otaku explains, Zhang Yi predicts the army arrive to attack the shelter beyond the frozen lake. Zhang Yi cautions Chun to stay alert and look after himself. The troops may storm the village, take its food to feed their ranks, and if danger looms, Chun is urged to flee to the protagonist's mansion. Zhang Yi adds, if the military learns about Chun's power, they might tempt him with luxury to join their cause. It could make them rivals, but Chun must choose what suits his own welfare, not worry about Zhang Yi. Feeling uneasy, Chun promises never to betray him. Chun remains a devoted Zhang Yi fan and deeply admires him, even as the village villain leader greets troops and insists Chun lay low until they're gone. But Chun, a plump fellow, defies the leader, claiming concealing his identity is pointless. He says people will discover it anyway, which could cause trouble, and urges the leader to confess. Thus, Chun is introduced by the leader as a mutant. The captain piques his abilities as Chun commands the snow. Impressed, the captain assures Chun of a brilliant future with them, inviting him to discuss military benefits. Later, Chun calls Zhani to reveal what he learned about the soldiers, and Zhang Yi thanks Chun for his faithfulness, asking him if he's certain about declining military service. Chun's response gives Zhang Yi complete confidence in him. Listening to Chun, Zhang Yi feels sure he can trust him fully. After learning the soldiers' plots, Zhang Yi gathers his group to announce the imminent attack. During the attack, they'll stay hidden underground where the base is strongest, making enemy victory impossible even if they were far more powerful. He then checks with Zenzen about cybersecurity. She assures him that all hacking attempts have been stopped. With her protective skills, intrusions are impossible, so Zhani gratefully appreciates such trustworthy allies. He then goes to visit Karen while she's working. He asks Karen to imagine how their enemies might try breaking into their bunker. Karen deduces they'd attempt to destroy it with explosives, like deconstructing a structure. But such an attack would require enormous amounts of C4, so they're safe unless the enemy somehow finds excessive explosives. Regarding his previous request, Karen made the needed explosives and adjusted a bulletproof vest to match the hybrid soldiers' uniforms from the mountains.